Welcome to the August 3rd, 2026 meeting of the Greensboro City Council. We are in the Katie Dorset Council Chambers, and let the record reflect that all members of council are in attendance. We will begin the meeting with a moment of silence. Thank you. And Mr. Holston, would you lead us in the pledge, please? Thank you. Please silence any and all electronic devices. The City of Greensboro strongly encourages input from all residents, and the council chamber serves as a welcoming and a safe environment for all. The council rules of procedure and decorum are posted on the city website under the City Clerk tab. All speakers are expected to read and adhere to the rules when addressing the council during a speaking opportunity. To address the council this evening, participants must have completed speaker sign-up by 5:30 p.m. pursuant to the rules prior to the council meeting. Those who are registered online should confirm their attendance with Mr. Canapino. All handouts must be given to the city clerk for distribution prior to the start of the council meeting. For the public comment period, each speaker signed up can speak for 3 minutes each. If there are more than 25 speakers, the time may be reduced to 2 minutes each per speaker at the discretion of the presiding officer. Speakers may address specific consent or business agenda items with 3 minutes allocated for those remarks. All speakers are expected to adhere to established rules of decorum. Any inappropriate or disruptive conduct will result in immediate removal. A first removal carries a 3-month suspension from in-person participation. A second violation results in a 6-month suspension, and a third violation or any instance involving physical altercations will result in a 12-month suspension. Any violation of state criminal laws may also subject the person to criminal charges. Those suspended from in-person participation will retain the ability to attend virtually via Zoom, ensuring their right to free speech. If the Zoom speaker violates the rules of procedure and decorum, they will be muted. Speakers may have the city IT team play videos that have already been sent into the city clerk for IT security check. Any videos, media, or supplemental items or documents utilized by speakers during this meeting are not reviewed or verified by the city for accuracy, completeness, or authenticity. The city does not endorse or adopt the content, and all opinions and views expressed are solely those of the speaker. Speakers may not transfer their times to others, and the mayor or presiding officer will determine the speaking order based on the number of speakers. The mayor may modify the time allotted to each individual, and approaching the dais is not permitted. Speakers may not address the audience nor employees of the City of Greensboro. The public comment period is for speakers to address council members only with their comments, and it is an opportunity for council to listen and take notes. Any violation of this protocol and the speaker's time will be surrendered. The city's employees are dedicated to serving our community, and all interactions with them should remain respectful and courteous. Residents are always welcome to express concerns or disagreements. However, personal attacks, harassment, or disrespectful conduct towards city employees do not contribute to a productive public dialogue, and we ask that you refrain from them. Zoom participants must refrain from speaking until they are recognized and called upon. State statute requires council members to vote on all matters unless a direct financial interest exists or if the council member serves on the board of a nonprofit organization that receives city funding. All motions will be moved and seconded, and the presiding officer will announce the tally vote. The consent agenda covering items F1 through F31 consists of routine and non-controversial matters that have been previously reviewed by a council committee. The consent agenda items are approved with a single vote. Any council member may request the removal of an item due to a conflict of interest or to vote in opposition. Items withdrawn for discussion will be carried forward to the next business meeting agenda. If an item is found to be time sensitive, the mayor may request that a vote be taken. Closed captioning is provided for this meeting, and depending on the duration of proceedings, a brief recess is anticipated around 7:30 p.m. Now, this is the time for our ceremonial and presentation items. Item E1, a resolution recognizing August 2nd through August 8th as Heat Awareness Week in Greensboro, North Carolina. Mr. Holston?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a resolution recognizing August 2nd through 8th, 2026 as Heat Awareness Week in Greensboro, North Carolina. Whereas extreme heat is a growing public health concern that contributes to serious health conditions, including heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and worsening cardiovascular, respiratory, and cerebrovascular diseases. Whereas this is a county-wide effort to establish a comprehensive extreme temperatures action plan, CTAP, to designate heat season as spanning from May through September each year, with the risk to public health often occurring during the early weeks of the season as residents' bodies are still adjusting to rising temperatures. Whereas in 2025, the National Weather Service issued multiple heat advisories and at least one excessive heat warning for the region, underscoring the need for heightened awareness and community preparedness. Whereas from 1983 to 2014, Guilford County averaged 6 days per year with temperatures exceeding 95 degrees, but projections for the 2060s estimate between 26 and 39 such days annually. Whereas Greensboro and other urban areas in North Carolina are experiencing more tropical nights with temperatures that remain above 70 degrees, which increases the risk for heat-related illness and death due to insufficient overnight cooling. Whereas heat-related illnesses can affect anyone, regardless of age or fitness level, with disproportionate impacts on infants and young children, pregnant individuals, older adults, outdoor workers, athletes, low-income residents without access to air conditioning, and those with chronic medical conditions. Whereas urban heat islands, areas with more pavement, fewer trees, and less green space, can be up to 11 degrees warmer than surrounding areas and are often found in low-income areas and communities of color, exacerbating health disparities. Whereas heat-related illnesses are preventable and reducing health risks from extreme heat requires community-wide awareness and proactive action. Whereas the state of North Carolina has acknowledged extreme heat as a significant public health threat and is working with scientists, public health experts, and local governments to improve heat resilience and provide communities with actionable resources. Whereas the City of Greensboro is committed to advancing health equity, improving public awareness, and preparing for the health impacts of extreme heat and other climate-related hazards. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Greensboro that Greensboro City Council recognizes the week of August 2nd through 8th, 2026 as Heat Awareness Week in the City of Greensboro and commend its observance to all residents.
Thank you, Mr. Holston. I knew you wanted to make that motion. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Mrs. Thurm. Council, please vote.
Good afternoon. I'm Erin Williams with the, oops, I'm sorry.
Waiting on the vote.
Stop me.
It's okay. Thank you so much. Did someone not vote? Oh, Did you got it now? All right, that carries 9-0. It is unanimous. Go ahead, Erin. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. No, I apologize. I want to thank you all for recognizing extreme heat as a growing public safety concern. We have certainly felt it this summer. We are on 37 days of orange flag activation, which is many more than we expected when we started this initiative. I really want to highlight the work of community safety and IRC staff for their efforts with Orange Flag and the weekend cooling centers. Additionally, I want to recognize the Office of Sustainability and Resilience. It was really their statewide efforts with the inaugural Planning for Extreme Heat cohort last year that got our local community thinking about extreme heat response. And from their planning last year is really what led to us putting some funds toward extreme heat this year. The proclamation really reflects Greensboro's commitment to resilience, public health, and cross-departmental collaboration in preparing for increasingly frequent extreme temperature events. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Mr. Holtzman.
And if
Go
I
ahead.
could simply add, it's very apropos that today the city of Greensboro did impose an orange flag. Today, not just for those residents that I spoke of in the resolution, but there's some 5,000 plus residents in Greensboro right now as we speak who are suffering from heat because their power is out. And so it's just important that even though it may not normally impact each of us individually, it's important to care about others in the community. And so very happy to present this resolution.
Thank you. Anyone else? Very important. Thank you so much. All right. Our item E2 is going to be postponed to a later date. And we will now move on to our consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove any item from the consent agenda due to a conflict of interest or for the purpose of voting no? Hearing no one, I will take a motion on the consent agenda. Moved by Mayor Pro Tem. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Mr. Allen. Council, please vote. And that carries 9-0. Thank you so much. And I do want to add that this has really helped us on our agendas because the subcommittees have gone through so many of the items listed and studied them in depth. So, Mr. City Manager, I personally want to thank you for bringing this up to us as a possibility. So thank you so much. All right, we will move on. At this time, I would like to exercise the chair's prerogative to bring forward a few items for consideration. The first one, and I do want to preface it by saying that after our last council meeting, we had a very informative work session the next day, and it has brought up some discussions. So I would now accept a motion to reconsider the moratorium process with some added language. Yes.
Yeah, so Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I move to reconsider the vote on the moratorium process, having voted with the prevailing side on July 21st, 2026.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. I wanted to confirm that the mover was on the prevailing side, and I would like to have the city clerk recite the 5 members who were on the prevailing side at the last meeting. It may take just a moment.
Yes, Madam Mayor. The prevailing side was Mayor Boozwaiter, Mayor Pro Tem Roth, Councilmember Holston, Councilmember Marshall, and Councilmember Thurm.
Thank you so much. All right, I would like to open the floor for discussion and debate, and the only thing we are considering right now is whether to reconsider the vote or not. All right, any discussion? All right, So we have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. You want voice vote? Okay. I will start down to my right.
I'm a yes.
Mr. Allen? Mr. Holst?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurm?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mayor Pro
Yes.
Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford? Marshall?
Yes.
And Parker?
Yes.
All right. Now, we do have a motion. We do have a majority. And now we need to immediately pending, the original motion is immediately pending again, exactly as it stood before the vote. Now we need to move to amend. Yes. All right.
I move
Go ahead.
I
Mrs.
move to
Thurm.
amend the original moratorium motion to be the following. I move the council direct the city manager and city attorney to initiate proceedings under NCGS 160D-107 for a temporary development moratorium applicable to any data center facility with an electrical power demand exceeding 10 megawatts. That staff be directed to publish notice of and schedule a legislative public hearing in accordance with NCGS 160D-107B and 160D-601 for the council's consideration of a moratorium ordinance not to exceed 120 days in duration, and that staff prepare a draft ordinance for presentation at that hearing containing the findings required by NCGS 160D-107D, including the problems necessitating the moratorium, the specific approvals to be suspended, the proposed 120-day termination date and justification, and the schedule of actions to be taken during that period.
I second your motion.
Councilmember Black, second the motion. Prior to our vote, we will go ahead and have council comments on this item. Councilmember Black.
Good evening, everyone. Deciding how to handle data centers in Greensboro hasn't been simple. It's not just a yes or a no. It involves big questions about our local environment, our economy, and the future of our neighborhoods. Because of that, our early decision on this topic brought out a lot of different, deeply held opinions on this council. But tonight, I am glad to share that we have found a unified path forward. We have agreed to move ahead with the data center moratorium, but with some very specific limited conditions. We didn't get to this consensus by ignoring our disagreements. We got here by working right through them. Thanks to our shared communication training, we were able to step back from public pressure and the standard political friction. Instead of arguing over what is right, we used a shared framework to really listen to what each council member was trying to protect. On one hand, we heard the need for protection. This legal pause gives us the time that we need to look closely at environmental data, local resources, and zoning rules. We had some training around the DISC assessment before we got on this dais, and I'm a D, which is dominant. Councilmember Crawford is a D, so that tracks the way that this process has moved. But we were able to come back, really take on the framework that we practiced and learned from the beginning and learned how to work together. This was our first topic of contention, and we were able to get to this point. By focusing on policy rather than politics, we built a balanced solution. It keeps our economic momentum going while putting strong community safeguards in place that our residents expect. However, this council is only part of the equation. We need your voice to get this right. On August 17th at 4 p.m., in this council chambers, the Katie Dorset Council Chambers, we will meet here to hear your voice. We invite you to come and talk to us about how you feel about data centers, what your expectations are, so that we can also take your voice and weigh into some of the framework and decision-making that we're doing. Your input will directly shape the final safety standards we adopt, so please join the conversation and help us guide Greensboro in the future together. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Crawford.
So not to duplicate what Crystal just said very well, I want to thank the community that reached out to us, both Crystal, myself, Irv, and other council members, to let us know exactly how you felt about this process of a moratorium, as well as how we look at further developing land use ordinances and zoning ordinances in addressing data centers. Don't think that your voice is never heard. We listen. Crystal and I, what we were saying from this dais came directly from your emails, from your phone calls, from your text messages, from your calls, from your DMs. Like, we were getting it from everywhere, and we appreciate it. I appreciate it. So keep us accountable. Show up for the public hearing. We'll hear you tonight as well. And thank you very much. Your involvement and engagement helped make this happen tonight.
All right, Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem Roth.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I want to thank my council members in continuing to have the dialogue. I want to also thank the residents of our community. I think that over the past several months, it's been an important dialogue that we are having, and I just want you to know from me personally as well, in picking up from what Councilmember Crawford said, we absolutely hear you. I hear you, and I appreciate what you all have said and your energy in staying engaged in this community dialogue that's very important for us. The truth of the matter is that the energy demands and the demands on our resources, be it water and noise impact, those things do matter, and those are something that I have sought to always acknowledge and continue to believe are an important part of us achieving strong policy. As Councilmember Black pointed out, it's about a balance, and I appreciate being a part of this cohort that can stay at the table and continue to talk through what is right for our community and how do we get there. In the times that we were meeting in public and having our council meetings, we were still meeting behind closed doors and talking to each other about how do we get to a process and policy that is inclusive and that does create a space for all of us to engage and talk and share ideas. So I'm glad that we are at this place. I am confident that we will be able to continue to balance going forward, having your input, general public input, as well as the continued speakers that we will have, and we will have a schedule of those items coming out as well. But just very much want to thank my colleagues as well as the community at large. We couldn't get here and have these processes and get to, I think that every good policy starts with all voices being heard. And that's certainly what I think we've achieved tonight. So I just very much am proud of this moment and proud of what we're achieving. Thank you.
Councilmember Holston.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is, and I think we're all probably going to be a little bit duplicative in our comments, but this has been a real collaborative effort. The collaboration starts with you, those who are here in the audience and those who are residents of the city of Greensboro, sharing what you know and how you feel about data centers, or is it data centers. Also hearing from my fellow council members, hearing thoughts and comments. I also shared that the work session that we held back on last week, I think it was very helpful and very informative. As I said back on the previous council meeting, there's a lot of information out there, and it's incumbent upon us as the council members, as the stewards of this city, to make sure that we take care of the city, whether it's the residents, whether it's the businesses, whether it's the environment, whether it's all of it. And I think that with this collaborative effort, with this vote tonight, that this is not the beginning, though, but it's not the ending, but it's the beginning of the next steps that we'll be taking. I know that August 17th is just around the corner. I know that you'll be right back here in this room, sharing your thoughts, sharing your facts, and we are here to listen, to engage, and to make the very best decision possible, knowing that Greensboro will remain open for business. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Holston. Councilmember Parker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm really proud of this council, y'all, in the ways in which there's a group of us that usually anchor every issue and then come back and run and get the rest of us. So I particularly want to give great thanks to the working group that has been anchoring us through this challenge. But this is how we grow like Greensboro. I have heard from hundreds of folks in the last few weeks about data centers, and you all were very clear about where you stood on things, and I'm glad that this decision echoes that. There's a lot to consider as we move forward with this policy making, and we are influenced by taking into consideration historic harm, but also our future goals. I think it was in our work session, you know, I spoke to District 3 having our water resources, and that Greensboro has made a huge investment in being a regional leader, and that we have to take that into consideration because these are very finite resources. And so we give great thanks for all of your input. I want to also invite you. I am the liaison for the Community Sustainability Council, and now is a time for us to continue to learn together. And so August 10th, which is next Monday, 5:30 to 7:30 at 2602 South Elm, Eugene. I believe there is also a way that you can watch it online. And we have an environmental justice organizer that is coming in to do a presentation. So now is the time to roll up our sleeves, return back to each other, and learn together to put the best product in place to take care of home. Thanks, y'all.
All right, Councilmember Marshall.
You know, I've said this before, governing is difficult. And compromise isn't easy, but compromise is important and is something that I think has been politically lost. So I'm glad that we're here and that we've reached some compromise. I'm glad that this proposal is more focused, both in relation to megawattage and the duration of the moratorium itself. Data centers are not one size fits all. They do not all have the same resource consumption requirements or environmental harms. This strikes a more reasonable balance between the state of our technology and economic needs and environmental and community member protections. So I am able to support this moratorium that establishes a more reasonable and limited scope moratorium itself.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Thurm.
I'd like to start out by requesting that the city manager and city attorney continue as we have been doing, as we get inquiries related to data centers in our community, to notify council regardless of the size, so that we continue to have a feel for what's going on and get our questions answered, whether it's 3 megawatts, 10 megawatts, 100, whatever. We would, that information that we requested earlier, we would like to continue receiving that, if you would.
Yes, ma'am.
As others have said, and I think Crystal put really well, or Councilwoman Black put really well, this was not an easy process, and as others have said, governing isn't easy. There were hours, multiple hours of meetings in the past week regarding this to figure out how can we come together, how can we compromise, how can we move forward. And I think that is absolutely essential. I am so proud of the work that we accomplished. The meetings weren't easy, but I think we made good progress. So thank you to my fellow council members that were in those meetings with me. I also want to make sure everybody realizes we will continue as we move forward having education sessions, whether it be about power, about water, about noise and air pollution, all sorts of factors that go into the decision making and into the rules of creating our ordinances around data centers. Those will be work sessions, so they will be recorded and they will be out there for the public to hear. They aren't necessarily at convenient times for everybody to attend, nor do we have space for everybody to attend. But please, we want you to hear what we're hearing and understand and see what we're understanding and hearing as part of this process, as you engage with us as we move forward into the actually creating the ordinances down the road. I think we all learned a lot. I think there was value in us looking at things through the DISC model and how to move forward. And the best is yet to come. I'm looking forward to this. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to the council members. Thank you for everybody that reached out to us to have honest dialogue on this issue. I've met with a number of residents and had a similar kind of conversation that we had as a council, saying, this is why, and this is my rationale, and the back and forth, and those conversations are important. I look forward to moving this forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Allen.
Yeah, I won't repeat all of the congratulations, but I am proud of this council for the way that we were able to move forward, the way that we were able to stick with an issue, and grateful for the folks that showed leadership on this issue. And I think that all sides should be able to consider this as a win, but also as winning ourselves for moving forward in dealing with issues, building trust with each other, with the community, and on how to listen to the community. So I'm grateful for this experience, grateful for those that led us through this, for staff and for council for sticking in there, and looking forward to folks staying engaged and moving forward, so that I guess that the room always looks like this when we're talking about issues.
That's great. Thank you. And I will kind of wrap all this up. I think, a lot of us were wondering what we should do, and we've been talking about things for quite many months about the data centers. We've heard from the community, and I think especially, as I mentioned earlier, having the work session that gave us a lot of pros and a lot of cons, and told us about all the different sizes of data centers and which ones, basically don't use any more water, some that use a lot of water. It was great learning all of this, and then we had more discussions between us. So I want to personally thank, before we take this vote, personally thank council, because I think it was eye-opening for a lot of us. It certainly was for me, and I learned so much, and I know we'll be learning more and be hearing more from the public. So I just want to make it very clear, and we will do a voice vote, that this vote is to start the developing of a moratorium ordinance it's for the 120 days, and this is for data centers 10 megawatts and higher. And I just want to make sure everyone is clear on what we are voting on. So I will do a voice vote. I will start this time on my left. Councilmember Parker.
Yes.
Councilmember Marshall.
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
I am a yes. Councilmember Thurm.
Yes.
Councilmember Holston.
Yes.
Councilmember Allen.
Yes.
And Councilmember Black.
Yes.
All right, that passes 9-0 unanimously. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, and I know the community does as well. We are listening, and we are listening and then moving forward with our community. So thank you all so very much. The last item I had as chair's prerogative And I want to make it very clear, this is not reactive to the incident the other night. We've been talking about this for many months, about asking our city manager to look into the possibility of a curfew for those under 17. I think a lot of people know about, there have been some times when students, I'm sorry.
Madam Mayor, I think there was something else on the.
Oh, I apologize. We do have one prior thing. I can come to it well, sure, but it does relate to the moratorium.
Yes.
Yes. I will do this first then. We need to consider a special meeting, as Councilmember Black mentioned earlier, on August 13th at 4 o'clock. And I know Councilmember 17th? Okay, it will be August 17th at 4 o'clock. Councilmember Black, you wanted to make that motion?
Yes, so moved.
All right, and do I have a second? Seconded by Mrs. Thurm. So this is a special meeting to hear from the community on August 17th at 4 o'clock. That is Monday at 4 o'clock, August 17th. And I will go, yes, in this room, and I still need the vote. So I will go down the line. Councilmember Black.
I'm a yes.
Councilmember Allen.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Councilmember Holston.
Yes.
Councilmember Thurm.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford.
Yes.
Councilmember Marshall.
Yes.
And Councilmember Parker.
Yes.
Yes. All right. That passes unanimously. It will be August 17th, 4 o'clock in Chambers.
Madam
Thank-
Mayor,
yes.
I just wanted to just bring some clarity to the public that first you have to put a motion in to have a moratorium, and then you also have to have public speaking opportunities.
Right.
And then we will draft language based on the feedback in our meetings, our work sessions. That's how we build this moratorium for a vote. So I wanted you to just be clear about the process in which we're going. Madam City Attorney, did you have anything to add?
No.
Okay,
no,
I just
that's
wanted to
correct.
make sure the public knew exactly what the steps are that we're taking and why we're taking them, so that you can come along with us. You're on the ride with us, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, and we do want to hear from our public, so please put that on your calendar. Thank you. And thank you, Councilmember Black. All right, so I was starting to talk about the next item, and that is all from the chair's prerogative. We do want to perhaps, and I will go on consensus of my council, to direct the city manager to look into crafting an ordinance for a youth curfew. And as I stated earlier, it is not a reaction to what happened last week. It is a reaction to things that happened over the last year, actually. In July of last year, not this past July, there was a shooting. And then there have been some parties where youth have come and congregated. Municipalities around us, we are going to be looking at their ordinances because they also have curfews in place, and we will be looking at a lot of those. So I just need consensus among council to if you would like to make comments about that and move forward with that. So I will take the names of who might like to speak to that. Okay, Councilmember Black? Okay, I'll just go down the line then, see if everybody wants a comment. And I'll
Do we
come back
comment
to you,
after,
Mr.
or do we
Holston.
make the motion?
I'm sorry? I don't think we need the motion yet, just we're discussing right now.
I think that it's a healthy conversation to have. I also want to make sure that our youth are well protected, and if this is a way to put something in motion that will protect our youth, I think it's a good thing.
Great. Councilmember Allen, thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is something that I don't initially support. I support the conversation around it, and I think if it can lead to conversation around some of the core issues, then I think that it's worth having, and that's what I look forward to having. But it's not something currently that I support, but I do support the conversation around it. Looking forward to what we are able to discover. But I would definitely lean towards what we can find around providing resources as opposed to like punitive measures. And this is something that I've had a long history with. So I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Councilmember Holston?
Yes, as a part of this support for the process of looking into what this or could look like, for me, it really does come down to safety for our youth, safety for our communities, and then we can build from around there. I know that other municipalities have already implemented curfews. It doesn't mean that we have to, but I think it's prudent upon us to at least have the conversation started. As to what Councilmember Allen said, those are some of the things that will have to come up and have to be discussed as we look at this process, as we look at whether or not Greensboro does have a curfew to protect its youth. And so for that purpose, I do support. Thank you.
Councilmember Thurm?
Yeah, I would just like to add that I look forward to the discussion, but I want to make sure that as the city manager and city attorney are moving forward and looking at this, that we are talking about the entire city, that we're not looking at picking and choosing neighborhoods or areas or something of that nature. If we're going to do this, it would need to be citywide, in my opinion. So I just want to make sure that as we go down that road that we're looking at it holistically.
Sure. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. And I think what you're hearing is the reason why we have to have a discussion. It's that cautionary impact that can happen to our young people. I have a young son that is just driving and learning what it means to hang out with friends, and I want him to be able to have a good time. I want him to be safe. I also don't want him at risk while he is out. So I'm looking forward to the conversation. When I was city manager, we had the moments of flash mobs. Those were earlier days. And so there is some learning that we take from that. And I appreciate the folks that are on this council at this time to allow for a balanced conversation to happen. So thank you all.
Thank you. Councilmember Crawford?
I'm going to have to join Irv on this one, or Councilman Allen on this one. Curfew usually has a fairly negative connotation, so I need to understand how this works while protecting civil rights. But also, I have to question, do we have the capacity to enforce a curfew? So I'm leaning on a no until I learn more.
Definitely. Councilmember Marshall?
Yeah, I'm happy to have the discussion. I'm very torn on this issue. I tend to lean towards Councilmember Allen and Crawford on this as well. I am all for protecting our youth. I think we need to do that. But we need to be careful not to overreach and start preventing folks' ability to live their life and have their freedoms as well. We got a lot of responsible teens out there also. So I would absolutely need more information on this before moving forward.
Sure, thank you. And Councilmember Parker?
Firstly, I wanted to send out prayer for the fullest recovery of those most directly impacted. Something horrific happened in our community, and we're not any different from other communities across the country. But I do want to say crime is predictable. We create hot spots where crime is most likely to happen. And I would caution Greensboro to have shallow conversations at this time about race. We're not taught how to talk about race. And there's a lot of ways in which we really have to roll up our sleeves, especially with the current rollbacks of having these kind of dialogues, to not just do something so superficial. Michelle Alexander, this whole city learned 10 years ago when we collectively read The New Jim Crow, that joblessness is often at the root of violent crimes. And so I just don't want I would be curious to what the response of a just to be responsible, what that would look like from staff. So I'm curious to know what it looks like, but we're responsible for keeping our children safe, not the fact that we have to be kept safe from our children. And so I just want to also be curious of how we need to allocate our budget. I would be interested to seeing what spaces GSO can and the responsiveness of like other public safety initiatives that we can be curious about because the curfew has proven to be not as effective. Even though I'm open to being responsive in such a way, I still want to learn how we can take care of our youth in the meanwhile. So the vote is that we are.
No, we don't need to take a vote. This is just consensus to direct the city
Right,
manager.
so then I would love to hear also GSO CAN's responsiveness and any type of budget allocation. I think I think that Greensboro, there's so many different things. I think right now today, the Greensboro Youth Council is actually meeting during this time. And we all do so much for our youth that I'm really curious about what an umbrella response would be, because everybody kind of does, there's really a lot of good work happening across the community. So I'm interested in hearing, and even in District 3, I have the skate land on Church Street, and they don't have a teen night. So I'm curious about reaching out to them about creating those spaces for our youth. And so I hope that everybody can roll up their sleeves and take care of home with us, and I hope to do that work with you all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And I also want to, hear from the community and from the organizations and everyone who could assist us with this, trying to make this decision in the future. So, Mr. City Manager, I do believe there is consensus to go ahead and see what we can do, what other cities are doing, and how we can research that and see what would be the best for our youth. Maybe not one at all, or it may be one.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor, I would say momentarily thank you for raising up GSO CAN. We do have the luxury of having a community safety, which is a non-police component in our repertoire of folks that help with public safety. So I will work with them as well as our police chief, our city attorney, and our staff to bring something back to you.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you, Council, for the great comments. All right. Now we will go to our public comment period. And this is from speakers from the floor on non-agenda items. This is an opportunity to hear from anyone wishing to speak, and generally this is a time of listening for the council. The subject will be noted, and if it requires action or a request, the city clerk or city manager will note as such and provide steps for any required response or after action. Please make sure you have left your contact details with the city clerk to facilitate communication. We will go first with Mr. Jack Garvey. And I believe Councilmember Black wanted to make a quick comment.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to comment off before we move forward with public commenting to ask Mr. City Manager to also look into, instead of shifting blame on youth, I think that there's a responsibility of the business owners and promoters who have parties in keeping our youth safe. And I also want to look into what we're doing to also look to them to do that work as well. Youth show up to have a good time, and it's the responsibility of businesses and promoters to put those things in place to keep them protected as well. So I don't want it to all fall on what youth need to do, but as grown-ups and as business owners, we want to hold those accountable that are creating these spaces that are unsafe for our youth to be able to attend. So I would like for you to include that in the work that we're doing. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Mr. Garvey?
Hey, good evening, Mayor Buswaiter and members of City Council. My name is Jack Garvey Jr. I'm the Executive Director of Greensboro Downtown Parks Incorporated and a board member for Guilford Green Foundation and LGBTQ Center. Leading up to National Nonprofit Day on August 17th, area nonprofits are speaking joining One Sector, One Voice Triad colleagues to speak in front of commissions and councils across Guilford County, Greensboro, High Point, and in Forsyth County and Winston-Salem, all in an effort to further demonstrate the important role our sector plays. I'd like to recognize the nonprofit organizations that strengthen our communities every day. Each year, nonprofit organizations contribute more than $19 billion, with a B, dollars in goods and services to the Piedmont Triad's economy. That impact is possible because nonprofits work alongside local government, businesses, healthcare providers, schools, faith communities, and residents to solve problems that no one sector can solve alone. Today, we saw that collaboration in action in LeBauer and Center City Parks. Over 1,100 Procter & Gamble employees stepped away from their daily roles and are giving back to the community this week. Shovels and rakes in hand, they helped with gardening and landscaping before heading out to support about 25 community organizations across town, including at the Cultural Center. Thank you, Councilmember Thurm, for being there to welcome and thank the volunteers. In addition, P&G donated $75,000 to the downtown parks that will help us offer free programming for the whole community, like weekly line dancing at Rhythm in the Park or the holiday tree lighting in Center City Park each December. That story reminds us that collaboration is how communities solve their most complex challenges. Collaboration is how we ensure high-quality park programming is available to everyone. The partnership I just described is one example of something happening every day across our region. Hundreds of nonprofit organizations working alongside local governments and community partners to improve the lives of the people we serve. As we recognize National Nonprofit Day, thank you for your partnership with the nonprofit sector and for recognizing nonprofits not simply as service providers, but as essential partners building stronger communities. Our ask is simple. Continue inviting nonprofits into the conversations. The people working closest to our communities bring valuable experience that can help inform stronger public decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garvey. All right, I have Martin Acevedo. Is he? Acevedo. I should know that by now, right?
Really? Hello there. My name is Martin Acevedo. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Communications for the Community Foundation of Greater Greensboro. I'm also a co-chair for the Casa Azul of Greensboro. So I'm wearing a couple of hats today. I moved here 4.5 years ago because of a nonprofit, and I've stayed because of the strong nonprofit sector here in Greensboro. I moved for my job with the Community Foundation. I've been involved with several nonprofits. I have the privilege of telling amazing stories of donors, philanthropists, making small donations, making big donations to small nonprofits and big nonprofits across our community. And so with that, I get to interact with them, hear the impact that they're having. So I feel like I have a pretty good handle on the nonprofit sector here. Just some quick stats. There's over 2,000 nonprofits in the Triad who provide over 7,000 jobs. So that's 8.5% of the workforce. And so we're one of the largest employers in the region. And so one of the things that is important, I'll give you a quick story from Casa Azul. Casa Azul, we have these Noches Latinas. It's the first Friday of the month. And it's free. Anywhere from 300 to 500 people show up. Some who can dance well, some it's their first time there. But what's really exciting about it is seeing the community come together. Black, white, brown. We had an 83-year-old woman celebrate her birthday there a couple of months ago. It's really like I take a step back when the sun is setting and underneath the net in LeBauer Park, and I just marvel at what is possible in this city. You know, when people can come together, have a good time in a safe space, and so. But there's an economic impact to that. So we draw a lot of people to the park on those first Fridays. We work with the downtown parks. They provide us an in-kind donation. And we raise a lot. there's a lot of people who purchase a lot of products from Little Brothers Brewing. And so they give us now, because we're helping to pay their rent, they give us a percentage of what they make that night. We didn't ask them to do that, but you start to see then the circle, the impact that just a little bitty nonprofit bringing a bunch of people together will help not only the nonprofit, will not only bring the community together, but is helping to provide jobs. So I also want to just say it's our quinceañera, the 15 years. We're partnering with the History Museum. On September 26th, we're going to have a fashion show with 20 quinceañera dresses. And so I just say supporting nonprofits is supporting civic engagement and economic
Thank
development.
you. Thank you. That's cute. All right, Mr. Art Close. Followed by, let's see, Art Close. Followed by Luke Logan. Followed by, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, Caven Rebel.
My name is Art Close. I live at 715 Kemp Road West. Back when we got together and you guys were new, some of you were new on the city council, I got up here and I said, we're hoping for a lot from you, and you're off to a good start. We appreciate that. The fact that you're talking to us so much, that you're listening, and that you're actually making time to get together with us really matters, because otherwise you have to come up with all the ideas. And while we're living the life, we have ideas. We're happy to share them. So appreciate the fact that you're setting that up for us. The data centers, nice move, appreciate it today. I think that keeping with what you're thinking of, we may also want to have an online place for people who can't be here the 17th. Someplace where they can type in a comment or two so we can make use of that. Okay, because there's a lot of expertise out there and people living in neighborhoods who could give you information. Okay. Big thing that I wanted to really talk about is the fact that our city and our county are underfunded. You could use hundreds of millions of dollars more than you have just to try to fix everything that needs fixing. I think we really need to consider a few things. One, how big we're going to get, and I've talked about that with you before. Because at the moment we keep getting bigger, and all it does is keep adding to what we have to do. And we need to start considering where we will be as sustainable, how much money we are going to need to buy the water we need to take care of our city when we have a drought, and we're getting more of those. These are things, again, I think a lot of people out here would be happy to work with you on to start to say, what do we need to do? And I'm volunteering, right? Additionally, we need to consider changing our revenue sources. We're tapping out. I'm a retired teacher. Nobody hates teachers as much as North Carolina hates teachers. Okay? If you moved on over to a place like Pennsylvania, I would have retired with $80,000 a year of income for my retirement. We don't pay a teacher in this state anywhere near that. So a couple things to be aware of. You keep coming to me for money because my house keeps going up, because somebody decides to invite another company in who's high-paying jobs. You see the connection, right? We need to take care of the citizens who live here. We appreciate the fact that you're talking to us, but we need to take care of everybody who's been footing the bill. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Logan. Is Luke Logan? Maybe not. Go ahead. And help me with your name. Kevin Rebel, is that right?
Kevin Rebel, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Kevin Rebel with WOA, the Working Class and Houseless Organizing Alliance. On June 24th, the North Carolina State Legislature passed House Bill 437, a bill banning camping or sleeping in public spaces, a ban which would serve to displace and criminalize individuals experiencing homelessness. The bill was vetoed by Governor Stein on July 8th, being sent back to the Assembly for further debate and amendment, But I am here today to say that this is not a time for Greensboro City Council to wait and see what happens at a state level. This is a time for City Council to consciously and proactively make efforts to protect the unhoused residents of our city. The bill is an attempt to bully local governments into compliance with dehumanizing anti-homeless policies by means of legal liabilities for public encampments deemed unsafe by state standards, leaving local governments with a choice between removing encampments by force, meeting arbitrary safety standards, or enduring the expenses of an extended legal battle. While the safety standards set by the bill as it is currently written are arbitrary, they are not unreasonable or unachievable. Investing in public facilities like restrooms, shower stations, and water fountains would allow the city of Greensboro to preemptively meet the requirements of designated camping areas should those become a necessity. And these resources would make Greensboro safer and more accessible for everyone, but especially anyone facing housing insecurity. I'm sympathetic to the fact that the local governments across the state are having their hands forced in this matter. I wish that it was under better circumstances that public funds were being diverted to these kinds of facilities and resources, but every crisis is an opportunity, and council members now have an opportunity to set an example for other local governments of how to handle this kind of pressure from state and federal institutions. Knowing that bills like these are popping up all over the country, it is the responsibility of concerned citizens and local officials to stay ahead of the curve and create a safe environment for all residents, because if we wait until the laws are actually passed and being enforced to take action, much more harm will be done to our most vulnerable neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anthony Wiley, followed by Lucia Seta, followed by Will Rogers.
City Hall was a police officer at City Hall. Told me to talk to the mayor and city councilor about a lot of things going. Greenboro is in danger, ain't I say? You got the son of the devil. He killed Martin Luther King. He killed John F. Kennedy. He put that plague in Africa. He tried to set a gold mine in Africa. He tortured me for all my life. My thoughts on computer. When I was born in New York City, Harlem Hospital. And the king bugged me. God said, you circumcise this baby, I will kill you. I'm Lord Jesus Christ. And born in New York City, Harlem Hospital. And the king bugged me up. Thoughts on computer, my vision on computer, my hearing, and my throat. And in 1996, they put something in me, the FBI, I don't know who did it. But anyway, it was a man named Priest in Gifford County Jail. He said, you need laser surgery in your eyes, laser surgery in your ears, and laser surgery in your throat, and laser surgery. I need laser surgery to get the things out of me. And a man named Priest in Gifford County Jail, Gifford County Jail, named Priest, he called me to tell you. He said, you need laser surgery in your eyes, laser surgery in your ears, laser surgery in your throat, and laser surgery to get things out of me. I need laser surgery to hold my whole body. I got private insurance, Medicaid, and Medicare. I'm a Marine Lieutenant Colonel. My mother married a Marine named George C. Wiley. And he was a Marine. And my mother married him. And had my brother, George Westerwald. He was a Marine. And I'm born a Marine. And they couldn't put me in the military because of the Vietnam War at the time. So they didn't want me in the military. But now I was in Burleson, North Carolina. Burleson, back in June, I got arrested February the 12th. And it was unsecured bond, but they did not let me go because and George in the motherfucking jail. They did not let me go.
Excuse me, please watch your language,
listen,
Mr. Wiley.
They gave me an unsecured bond. They did not let me go because they know what unsecured bond means. Angel in Burleson. And so I got released June 11th. Angel did not let me go. They gave me an unsecured bond. God was in jail with me, watching me. You call Burleson and they tell you, no, her name is Lieutenant Stevenson. God was in jail watching me. And you call in and they will tell you, yeah, he was in jail watching me, God, my father. And call in and they tell you, in Burleson, North Carolina jail. Anybody can call and they will tell you, yeah, God was my father, watch me in jail. Going to tie it up. If I don't get it, now I need to be transferred to a military base to get laser surgery.
Thank you, Mr. Wiley. Thank you, sir. Your time is up. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wiley. Thank you. Thank you.
To transport me to military
Thank you.
base.
Your time is up.
Who's saying this? Who
This
said
time-
time is up?
You had 3 minutes, Mr. Wiley. Thank you. All right, Lucia Seta. I hope I said that correctly. Will Rogers. And then we'll go with Wyatt Bruner.
It's Lucia.
Lucia,
Also
I'm
by
sorry.
Star. Yes. Okay. Our city roads, greenways, buses, sidewalks, they take us to our workplaces, schools, resources, libraries, doctor's appointments, to our friends and communities. They help us vote, build political power, stay connected, and grow a local economy. They are our lifelines. Instead of flock and Verkada cameras, instead of data centers, I want Greensboro to have finished sidewalks, to be a city that expands public transit and has bike lanes that actively protect cyclists, a downtown that isn't 32% parking, a city with public restrooms and working water fountains, a city that doesn't destroy homeless encampments, but creates infrastructure to support people, a city that doesn't criminalize feeding people in a public park, a city that doesn't steal a community fridge, a city that is car optional, a city that accounts for the changing climate, a city built for life to flourish in. The opposite of this is a data center. AI data centers are not innovation. They aren't an economic opportunity. They aren't inevitable. They are the final nail in the coffin. They are the infrastructure of death. A way to speed us toward a future, an uninhabitable future, one that even those you love won't be able to survive. So what will be your legacy? Because from here, I see denial and self-preservation. I see council members waiting until it's too late to take any meaningful action. What's going to happen after 120 days? What is the rush? What are we rushing toward? If you don't know enough, like some of you stated in your last meeting, then what is 2 months? 2 months is nothing. You claim you just don't know enough, and it is your job to know. To the council members that agree, what are you doing with your power? Tell your constituents publicly why moving forward with a data center is dangerous. A moratorium is the bare minimum. The Elm Street pilot program is the bare minimum. The trolley is the bare minimum. The 4-mile greenway, while beautiful, I enjoyed every single day, is the bare minimum. Took 25 years. I want functional infrastructure in the city I live in. So when will you do more than the bare minimum? If we talk about heat awareness, how does this align with infrastructure that protects the people? If we talk about crime in our youth, how are we going to talk about housing and joblessness? How can we see all of this being interconnected? If we want a local economy to grow, we have to do things differently.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Rogers. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm a nurse, a Quaker, a bicyclist, a driver, a pedestrian. I've lived in Greensboro 6 years. I went to Stanford University, where I went alongside a lot of the people who are now booming with the tech boom. And I'll just start with gratitude to y'all for helping slow down and take the time to do this right in terms of the data center situation. This is not a situation where we need to rush. There's a lot of panic involved, especially in the people who are at the heart of it. They're like, if we don't do it right, China's going to do it first. It's going to be fine if China does it. They're going to do it better than we can do it. We don't need to panic. We don't need to move fast. Slowing down is really the right move. There are so many ways that a city can grow. And Greensboro is growing in terms of numbers. And it's beautiful to me that this Elm Street Plaza idea is happening. And I really want to see it happen, and I really want to see it be successful. People love walking. Walking is good. Walking is human. People have been walking for hundreds of thousands of years. We need walking. In order to make Greensboro car optional, we have to understand that traffic, the word traffic, when we use the word traffic, it's more than just cars. Traffic can be so many different things, and we can expand our minds. Bicycle is traffic. Foot traffic is traffic. These are kinds of traffic that can bring health into our lives. I want to introduce y'all to a word, if you don't know it already, strode. So the difference between a street and a road. Streets are a place you go to. A road is a thing you use to get somewhere else. A strode is this like unholy combination of the two, where cars are going alongside of bicycles and pedestrians, and it's really a not safe space for the pedestrians. And it's worth it to take the time and figure out, okay, is this a street or a road? Because the strode thing doesn't work. That's really all I want to say. I'm grateful for y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Then we have Mr. Wyatt Bruner, Kaya Clark, then Malik Huff.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Wyatt Bruner, and I'm a student at UNC Greensboro. For the last 2 years, biking has been my main mode of transportation, commuting to school and around town from an off-campus house every day. I would like to bring awareness to the lackluster infrastructure surrounding UNCG's campus, which discourages thousands of students from using more sustainable and accessible methods of transportation and leaves those who do use these methods of transportation at the mercy of cars, facing risk of serious injury or death. Of the main roads directly surrounding UNCG, Josephine Boyd Street, Gate City Boulevard, Tate Street, Market Street, and Friendly Avenue, not even one of them has bike lanes. Spring Garden is the only road in this vicinity with bike lanes, though it cuts directly through campus, not around. As a resident and student in Greensboro, I see this as quite unacceptable, endangering the lives of many students and entirely discouraging many others from choosing biking instead of driving. I personally have heard from many Greensboro residents and students that they would prefer to bike, but are too intimidated by the danger of biking on roads that neglect their safety. According to the City of Greensboro Planning Department, as of 2025, Greensboro features over 1,000 miles of paved roads and only 1/10 of that in bike lanes. Our city unfairly prioritizes the convenience of cars and currently fails to adequately protect the lives of bikers. Biking is not only a more sustainable mode of transportation than cars, but is also a more affordable and accessible mode of transportation for many. By prioritizing car-centric infrastructure, the city is discouraging sustainable practices and endangering and neglecting the lives of less advantaged populations that may rely on biking as their sole means of transportation. To the City Council members and Mayor, I ask that you consider prioritizing the needs of pedestrians and bikers in an area that would benefit so greatly from walkable and bikeable infrastructure. In biking these streets and saying these words, I'm doing my part to represent my community's needs and desires, and now, all I ask is that you do your part. I believe this city has great potential to pave the way to a more accessible and sustainable future, and improving cyclist protections around UNCG's campus would be a great way to allow Greensboro residents to make their difference 2 wheels at a time. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Clark? Ms. Clark and then Malikov.
My name is Kai Clark, not Kaya or Kai.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Kai Clark. I'm a student at UNCG, majoring in urban planning and film. I say this as an introduction, explaining the plausible experience I've had growing up where the government doesn't provide and protect the people that they're supposed to look after for, with marginalized communities being often overlooked.
Oops. No, you haven't had your time yet.
Okay.
Hold on just a moment.
Can I continue?
Of course, yes.
Oh, okay. With marginalized communities often being overlooked, with the example of the data center being placed in a low-income community, but to cite how I have credibility as I have immense understanding and knowledge about urban planning and environmental racism and how it all connects back to capitalism. I do not support the decision of building a data center on Eastgate City Boulevard, and it's easy for people who are in higher powers and positions to say and agree on things when they're not in those situations themselves. These data centers are not only bad for the environment, but they're bad for the people as well. And for the curfew, the late curfew that you guys were talking about earlier, please keep in mind that these curfews can kind of give more power to corrupt polices or people or police officers who have like injustice and ignorant mindsets and can target like people of color and low-income students. Thank you.
Thank you. Malik Huff, and I want to make sure Mr. Luke Logan did not come in.
Hey, City Council. So I'm back. This time, I really want to say thank you to some people up here. Crystal, Hugh, Cece, and my best friend, Parker. Parker, me and you had met at the park. I want to let you know this, that with this song that I'm about to play, I want y'all to understand, this is coming from my song, from Beauty in the Streets. Yeah, just listen to it.
This one from Malik. We the people. A real one, a servant, a leader. Yeah. We the people. We the people. We the people. Yeah. We the people. We the people. Yeah. This one from Malik, a real one, a servant, a leader. Every morning laced up, mission on his mind. Heart full of love, let his purpose always shine. Beauty in the streets, yeah, changing people's lives. 1 meal, 1 hug, helping hope survive, never looking for applause, never chasing fame, doing God's work that's bigger than a name. From the children to the homeless, every soul he sees, he reminds the whole world what humanity means. He says, we the people, for the people, loud and proud, lifting broken spirits, standing tall above the crowd, faith in every step, never walking all alone, building up a legacy that's stronger than stone. We the people, for the people, that's the code.
Awesome.
That right there is letting y'all know that I'm out here working for the homeless community. I've been out here strong. And January 3rd, coming up in the next year, I am moving it. I am moving my nonprofit. I've been at Pillar, so now I'm moving it to Warnersville. And Crystal Black, Alvin Allen, who hosting, Tim, all of y'all, I want all of y'all to come out for the next biggest celebration that I'm moving it and I'm taking the city over. And I want to make the city known that this year is going to be the biggest Beauty in the Streets. And 4 years later, I'm going to have one downtown Greensboro because I'm taking it downtown Greensboro. And I want y'all to know that. This city is my city and I'm taking it back.
Thank you, Malik. Thank you, Malik. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, I now have Dan Tapia, or Tapia? Dan Tapia. Then I have Scott Jones, and then Kima Leonard. Yeah. Dan? Okay. Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Thank you.
Hi. Good afternoon. My name is Dan. I am a member of WOA. We are the Working Class and Houseless Organizing Alliance of Greensboro. I came here today to speak about ICE, the violent deportations of our neighbors, and demand protections from the City Council to the people of Greensboro, the people that help keep the city running, the workers that help construct our buildings, make our food, and provide other essential services, our neighbors, our loved ones. On June 24th, the North Carolina General Assembly voted to overturn the governor's veto of SB 153. The bill is colloquially known as the Border Protection Act. This bill forces municipal governments to comply with the terrorism of ICE by eliminating sanctuary cities, forcing city council members to comply with the public execution and kidnapping of people who will then be placed into concentration camps where they will be tortured, raped, and murdered, concentration camps that no longer report the deaths of detainees who have been released from custody. People like Prisciliano Trejo, who was arrested in North Carolina this past June. He was moved to a detention center in Stewart County, Georgia, where he became increasingly sick. He cried out at the conditions of his detention. He explained to his family members how he was coughing up blood, in pain, and had a bruise that would not go away, that would not heal. He later fell into a coma on July 15th and unfortunately passed from complications of acute leukemia. He was only 29. I had hoped to ask for real leadership in this moment, basic care to the people of Greensboro so that this doesn't happen to them. However, this past week, we were all slapped in the face with the reality we live in, given to us by City Attorney Laura Covage. Can we all give her a round of applause? Over this past week, we're all slapped in the face. If you criticize the actions of the city, if you push too hard, if you ask too many questions, if you complain or request of the city is taking too long, the city council will give the city attorney free rein to come at you. Various news outlets reported on a recorded phone call that occurred between Jason Hicks of the Second Chance Federation and City Attorney Laura Covage. In this phone call, the city attorney stated, "My counsel has already given me the permission to take legal action that's necessary." When Jason asked to speak, he was answered with, "You don't get to speak," and that she has free rein from my counsel to come back at you. So let's roll. This conversation leaves us with some basic questions that must be answered. Which city council member voted for this? Who gave her that power? Who told her she could do this? Was this vote held in secret? Are there other secret votes we don't know of? What is the threshold for city council to give permission to the city attorney to come at you? Is this threat one we can expect from the city, from the Greensboro City Council to be carried out by the hands of the city attorney? Who does the city council work for if not the people that give them their power? How can we trust the city council? And who will they try to silence next? Thank you.
You know, I must say we have asked in our rules of decorum not to disrespect our employees. So I would be very, very careful on how we move forward. I did let you finish your remarks, but we only have 2 employees. And if you need to direct things to us at other times, that's fine. But I did want to make that comment. All right, Mr. Jones.
Good evening, City Council members, residents of Guilford County, Greensboro City. Last week or 2, we were here as a board talking about the day labor program that was jerked out from underneath our nonprofit organization unlawfully. Under the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America by the Supreme Court, unanimous decision that tasers are protected under the Second Amendment right. Let me also remind you and the attorney, North Carolina General Statute 51.3, I'm sorry. That's the North Carolina Castle Doctrine. That's also about stand your ground. I was almost stabbed along with other people at our Hope Center. Let me say that just a few days ago, we called the Beehart team from Greensboro. We have to this day yet had a response from them about a person of interest at our facility that was there illegally trespassing. We had to call the police department emergency number to get someone to respond to remove her from the property. Let me also remind you, we've had guns brought into the Hope Center. We've had knives brought into the Hope Center. Let me also remind you, each and every one of you just spoke about the shooting that happened on this weekend in Greensboro. And council members saying that, oh, business owners should be able to protect themselves and their patriots. I did exactly that, and our nonprofit was punished, discriminated against. A day labor program that was asked by this city to go out and clean up trash and remove needles from Elm Eugene by people that we were hiring experiencing homelessness, but I can't protect them. But yet city council member just sat right here and said business owners need to take a better stance on it. This is disgraceful. Mark Robinson stood right here defending the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States on April of 2018 because this council tried to take a different stance. And I'm going to stand here and I'm going to do the same thing Mark Robertson did. I'm going to defend the people that we serve daily that are experiencing homelessness. The people that we were hiring with funds from the city to go out and clean up encampments, instead of running them out, we were cleaning them up, helping them take their trash away. But yet this council, this staff, decided to discriminate against our Second Amendment rights. Because I have a text right here. I'm sorry, not a text. I have an email from a city staff member that said Executive Director Scott Andrew Jones would have to sign a letter removing tasers from the Hope Center.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I do believe your district rep would like to say something.
First, I want to clear up that I am talking about holding business owners and promoters responsible for creating safe environments for children. So I want to get that clear. And then I also just want to get some clarity from the city manager's office. To my understanding, it is that he wants us to give him permission to tase our unhoused population. That is not something that I support. And so I just want clarity on what it is that he has asked for. So that we can be clear on what the message that is being given tonight, because it's not about protection, but this is about an enforcement that an individual wants to take on people who are already vulnerable. So I want to be clear about what the message is.
Yes, ma'am, you are correct. The matter arose to my attention at the request for the nonprofit to be able to utilize tasers, and that is not something that I can allow a private person or a private business to be able to do. And so as with that, I would not agree to do that as part of the contract to agree to administer what we were funding.
I just wanted that to be clear that we do not want we want all of our residents protected, and we do not want to give one single person permission to cause harm to someone based on a personal opinion or idea. So I just don't want this to go any further with being led that this is about the city being egregious to them. Now, I do believe the day labor program was helpful, but I think there are other people can offer day labor programs. But I am going to speak as a District 1 rep, because it does live in my district, that I do not support someone just deciding whether they should tase another individual. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Kima Leonard, and then Ben Holder. I believe he's on Zoom.
Hello, Council. My name is Kima Leonard, Greensboro native and resident, and youth and community organizer, among other things. I was going to talk in length about the data center moratorium, but I am pleased, at least for now, that we have reversed that for that 180 days. And so I guess I'll have to save my comments for February on that. But before I get into the actual points that pertain to council, I do just want to encourage the council, as well as all members, of the Greensboro community, to stand in solidarity with the college students of UNCG and A&T who recently have lost their polling sites that they were granted in 2024. To be very clear, there is this narrative that the youth and college organizers on the ground do not know that they were not afforded those sites in 2022 for the midterms, and that they believe they are entitled to it because they had it in the presidential. We know well that is the case. We also know that the Guilford County Board of Elections a couple weeks ago decided to add Stokesdale polling site from the 2022 plan onto, from the 2024 plan onto the 2026 plan, which is only supposed to be on a presidential, which had the least amount of votes cast in 2024, despite denying, once again, UNCG and A&T their polling sites on and near campus, which had the 16th and 17th highest voter turnout. And so just standing in solidarity with them and really making sure we hold our members of the Board of Elections accountable, regardless of party affiliation, to stand up for students, college students in East Greensboro alike. So just wanted to say that there. Also wanted to touch on the point on the youth curfew, and I wish I had, I see the time there, perfect. I guess it's beneficial to have the conversation just to get all the facts and ideas out. Right now, I am going to go ahead and oppose. As a fellow youth myself, I think there's a lot of reasons why youth can and should be out there, regardless of time. I know I used to work at Chick-fil-A for 2 years, and I used to work night shift, and so I remember closing sometimes and leaving at 12:30 a.m. and hang out with my friends in the parking lot for a couple hours, just chatting, right? Maybe that's the only time in the week we have to chat with each other, right? I don't think we should be penalized for that. Whether you're celebrating after a football game or just maybe it's GHO, or maybe you're getting back from a late flight. I'm just thinking of all these things. I mean, youth are citizens and members of our community too. I don't know if we should have any type of youth curfew for them. I understand the need for or the want to protect our youth, but I do think that proposal is misguided as best. And I had another point, but I see the time is closing, so I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I have Ben Holder on Zoom, I believe. And I want to make sure that Luke Logan didn't come in.
I have material from Ben Holder. Do you need to speak with him, or should I just play it?
Madam City Attorney, he just sent something in, but he is not here.
Madam Mayor, you have always, the last time when Mr. Holder did not show up, you did not play the video. So if he's not on Zoom, then he's not here.
He's not on Zoom, correct?
I don't know.
Ms. City Clerk, he's not? Okay. Okay, no, we will not play then. Yes, thank you. All right, Jason Hicks. Is Mr. Hicks here? I'll try one more time. Jason Hicks. All right, now we are going to go into the data center group. It's very important that everyone try to put down what they are here to speak about. It helps with our figuring out how to make sure that people are heard around the same time that their peers are heard about the subject matter, so that always helps. All right, so I will start with that. Kay is the last name, Caroline Kay. And then Tanya Cuthbertson. Then Ashley Buffa. Yes, Jason did come in. Let me go ahead and get his first. I'm sorry, Caroline. If you can have a seat. If you just want to wait. Yeah, I had called him first, but he was out in the lobby. I'm so sorry. Could you have a seat close to the, yes, Mr. Hicks?
I appreciate your patience. I was out in the lobby. I didn't know you called me. So, good evening. My name is Jason Hicks. I'm speaking on behalf of myself as an individual and not on behalf of anyone else. I'm here tonight because Laura Cubbage is trying to mislead the community. Surprise, right? On July 21st, I asked this council if it authorized legal action against me. Nothing but silence. On July 28th, the recordings came out, Cubbage telling me this council gave her free rein to come after me. She never denied what's on them. She just claimed they weren't complete and wouldn't say what was missing. Here's the same recordings that I gave the News and Record, complete and unedited. Have it examined this week. I encourage you to have it examined. It will confirm what her silence already tells you. She's misleading you. Then the mayor put out a statement, and it read like a riddle. She said the city has an obligation to protect Cubbage's safety. She never once said the city has an obligation to protect the residents Cubbage went after. What does free rein mean if not a threat? What about my safety? What about my First Amendment right? Additionally, several months ago, Laura Cubbage sent me an unsolicited text message from her personal cell phone, asking me to travel with her to Virginia to speak to a group of incarcerated people. That's not what you ask of someone that you think is racist or misogynistic. Those labels only showed up once I stopped agreeing with her. She looked at this city and decided she could say whatever she wanted because no one would check. Tonight, I'm giving all 9 of you the ability to check. I'm leaving this with the courier, and I believe that you have an obligation to the residents to examine this and tell the public what you find, unless you already know, and you're just covering for the city attorney. The record speaks for itself. Laura Cubbage misled this council about the recording, so I'll leave you with one question. What else has she misled you about?
Mr. Hicks. I know you are basically making a complaint about a city employee, and we have heard your complaint, but there's been no formal complaint about a city employee. She is our employee. That is why the statement was made. So I don't know what you are trying to have us say, but I guarantee you that pretty much all of us have been subject to the harassment and bullying, and some days it's really, really hard to take. You know, you've made fun of us. You've done all of those things that you put on your social media. You've made cartoons of us that have actually caused me to get a death threat. All of those things. So I'm just saying, you go after people, and that is your right, because we are elected officials. But when you go after an employee, that is when we want to see what we can do to protect them. So if you have done otherwise, that can come out too. But what I see is that you are going after our employee. And I don't know what your agenda is on that. I have a feeling, but that's a personal opinion. But when you go after our employee, we are responsible for our employee. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now. Let's see, I got lost. Go ahead, Ms. Clark. Ms. Kay?
Hi, my name is Caroline Kozer. I am a UNCG graduate, a chemist, and as a chemist who's now worked in the private sector, I 100% understand the importance of balancing not only commerce, but science as well. But on that note, it has to be said that when it comes to AI data centers, it's not worth it. It's never going to be worth it. On that note, aside from even environmental impacts and all, let's speak on the moratorium. With all the information that's been out there, most people in this room have an educated stance on AI data centers, how they function, what the implications are to the energy grid. And all I've got to say is that for this council, I don't believe 120 days is enough on the moratorium. Part of civics is being able to be critical of the people who represent you and govern you, and it's pretty clear to me that more education is needed. And it is a little bit disappointing, to tell the truth, with the amount of information that is out there on how data centers will affect the environment and affect the grid. On another note, the moratorium does not apply to the data center that is currently being constructed on Westgate City Boulevard. And I think it's really important to ask the question why the Greensboro City Council applied a grant of $530,000 to this company. Oh God, what is it? I don't remember the name of the company, but this company is investing $108 million into this infrastructure. And I understand why that might be given, considering it's supposed to be a combined educational facility. However, I don't understand why that money needed to go to the AI data center and its construction, when it could go to other issues that have been spoken about plainly tonight, such as homelessness and infrastructural development. I really appreciate you guys for doing your best to open up to comments to the community, to take criticism and move forward. And I really hope that you guys have listened to all of us tonight and listened to what you are doing, or what we are asking. On a comment that I heard earlier that it is difficult to govern, I urge you to remember that your jobs as representatives are not just to govern, but to represent. And I urge you to do what you can to keep a pulse on your districts and what they want and what they need, so that you can continue to accurately represent and do the other half of the job. Please don't forget that it is not just governing, it is representing.
Ms. Tanya Cuthbertson, followed by Ashley Buff. Is it Buffa? Buffa. Yes. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, City Council members, thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Tanya Cuthbertson. For 10 years, I focused on facts, context, justice for families, not just for them, but for myself. I want to address this controversy between the city attorney, Laura Cobbage, and Jason Hicks. As a local activist, Jason Hicks has, as you said, has threatened. He has also brought out selective clips to put on social media. It is important to recognize that Mr. Hicks is not a private citizen. He is a public advocate. And on the regular, he submits public record requests, and he has confronted several of the council directly. Now, the city attorney believed that she was addressing misinformation. She was trying to clarify information. Her tone was a little firm, but it wasn't misconduct. When officials are threatened, their communication may become stress or show some urgency and even some passion. She was not trying to, wait a minute, hold up. Even though the passion and stress, she was trying to de-escalate and place boundaries due to ongoing feelings of harassment, not just towards herself, but to other city council workers. I'm asking today for clarification. I need the entire call to be played to ask the context of the form of for Mrs. Cabbage to clarify what she was intending on saying, and this will destroy our community if it's not resolved in a quick, calm manner. As you have said, we do not know what Mr. Hicks's intentions are, but they have been going on. They have been going on since the district attorneys, Crump, and now I'm seeing it trickle down to Laurel. And each one of y'all have been affected. So I need for you guys to do something about the bullying, the harassment, and do something about it immediate, please. Thank y'all. Have a blessed night.
Thank you, Ms. Cuthbertson. All right, Ashley.
Hello, Council. My name is Ashley Virginia Buffa. I'm a resident of Greensboro in District 1. I am a UNC graduate and a full-time creative and musician. All of my livelihood is created through the creative work that I do. And I'm here today on behalf of many artists, friends, family, and Greensboro residents who are concerned about data centers. I'm happy to hear about the steps being taken with this moratorium. And I want to firmly say that we as residents of Greensboro do not want our city resources going towards infrastructure that will be used to increase mass surveillance, put a strain on our power grids, cause noise pollution, and harm our water systems. Everyone loves to praise AI for its ability to create efficiency, but I would like to urge you to consider, what are we racing towards? Are we racing towards a future that considers the material conditions of the people who live in this city? Or are we racing towards a future that generates more profits for corporations that do not care about us? We don't want this. And I personally don't want this. My livelihood as an artist is directly harmed by generative AI. And you know, at the beginning of this meeting, there was a motion about Heat Awareness Week. We are all very aware of the heat, and it's only going to continue to get worse, especially with the existential threat that AI poses to our climate crisis. So I encourage you to put your money where your mouth is. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Billy Belcher, followed by Sarah Mosler, followed by Sandra Isley.
Good evening. I'm Billy Belcher. I live in District 2 over by Brightwood Elementary. And I would have thought that opposing data centers was an easy political win for the City Council. The moratorium was the bare minimum in protection that people have been demanding. And I hope we're all prepared for a fight beyond this moratorium to keep them out of our community. Because otherwise it ain't going to happen. The people are really excited about this issue, and the people are overwhelmingly against the data centers. We know that data centers are evil, and we're making the connection that the people who support them in our communities are not exactly good. If you don't care about a community's vital resources like water and electricity, then I don't know what people do care about. I don't trust anybody who says in August of 2026 that they need more information or education about data centers. Amen. You sound like people who aren't sure if genocide is bad or if you want more information before you're going to condemn the KKK. Data centers are bad. And the people who try to put them in our neighborhoods are bad. To support data centers is to destroy the environment. It is to scrape up every bit of an individual's data. It is to eliminate every last vestige of privacy that we have. These data centers and the artificial intelligence in its current configuration is automated fascist tyranny, brothers and sisters. It is. We have to fight against it with everything we got, and that's what we're going to do. We're here to fight. We have a ruling class literally at war with us. Whether it's ICE raids, homeless sweeps, or data centers and license plate readers, we are facing a threat to our very existence. And whether we are talking about the ICE raids or the data centers or the police brutality and the homeless, our city council so often manages to be part of the threat and not the solution that we are sick of it. We are going to protect our community from data centers. And we're going to protect our community from you if you make us. No data centers, no curfew. Thank you.
Councilmember Thurm, if we could hold it down, please. Councilmember Thurm would like to make a comment.
Yes, I just want to clarify that state law does not allow us to prohibit data centers in Greensboro. We are not given that right. It is against the law. Therefore, the goal...
No, please, no outbursts.
The goal for us is how do we minimize, how do we protect the community? If your goal is to say no data centers and you want us to say no data centers, I would encourage you to go reach out to your state representatives, to the state legislature, to give us the right to say no data centers. There is a campaign that you can do. I mean, you can go forward with that, and we need that to happen. All of us here on the dais care about this issue. We all want to see it. You know, if we had the right, maybe we would say no, but it's not an option. It is not an option for us. So I just want to clarify, I understand the passion and I truly appreciate the passion people feel, but this is not something we cannot say no data centers. That is, we don't have the right to do that. So I would encourage you, reach out to your state representatives, talk to them, and talk to your federal representatives as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Did Sarah Mosler? Oh, you wanted to make a comment? Go ahead. Yes.
I just also wanted to clarify about the Impact Data Dream Center, and would like to yield to Madam City Attorney to explain the legalities of that and how it was approved in 2022, not by this council, but by previous council, and what our ability to address that particular development is, so that we can have the right messaging going out to the community. Thank you, Councilmember Thurm, for clarifying that. If we could say no data centers, we'd say it, but we can't. And so we need to have the right proactive measures. We'd love for you all, this whole crowd, to go down to the state and express your feelings, but coming here is not where it should stop. It needs to go to the state level, and I want you to have clarity about Impact Data Center, so that when you are sending messages out and you're telling your story about data centers, that you're on the right side of things. We're working in this together. I heard someone make a comment about the time period not being long enough. We have the discretion as council. If we're not ready to make a move on the moratorium, we can extend it, but we have a plan. And we have professionals coming to speak with us. I also invite you to follow our work sessions, where you can hear the information that those professionals are giving us. So we are planning this with you, and we are trying to be proactive by having you walk along this with us. But we can't do it when you're not hearing some of the other intricacies around it. So if you could explain about impact data, it's in my district. Am I celebrating it? It's a fact that we are having to deal with it, and I want you to get the facts around it so that when you move forward, you know exactly what the law says and what we are and are not allowed to do. Madam City Attorney.
Thank you, Council Member Black. With the Impact Data Center, you're exactly right. That was approved in 2022. That was not approved. The data center itself was not approved by any city council because it did not have to be. Data centers right now can develop by right. That is a term of law that says if they are in a warehouse district, a medium commercial district, a light industrial district, or a heavy industrial district, they have a right to simply be. They don't need approval. And so the last city council did not approve the erection of a data center. What the last city council approved was to give incentives in return for something. I don't know the reason why. I was not here with the city at that time. But that incentive was giving in exchange for the 28 jobs, roughly averaging out around $60,000 a year. And again, I'm not here to say whether that was enough or not enough. That was not my call to make. It wasn't the former council. It was the former council that voted yes to those incentives. But it wasn't about approving the data center to develop or not develop because they have a right to develop. The land use ordinance that this council is actually negotiating on and discussing and will be eventually implementing is what is going to put some conditions around all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember Crawford.
I want to uplift the fact that the community, we're tied down by law. The community has all of the right in the world to organize against data centers as you understand they are coming. It is your right to make them understand if you want them there or not. You have more power than we do. We are tied to the law. And so we are going to try our best to make sure that the law encompasses as much land use and zoning accountability as possible. So I just want to make sure that you understand, like, you have the power. You're the ones that are probably going to be able to make them understand what you want and don't want.
Yes, thank you. Sarah?
Thank you. Recently, you invited a consultant to give a presentation to learn the facts about data centers. They shared a photo of a data center protester and made a joke about a person who is standing up for the safety and well-being of their community members, and this group laughed. What does it say to this community that instead of speaking with the families with wells filled with nitrates, or the farmers pulling calves stone dead from their livestock, or the kids who can no longer play without a $500 asthma inhaler, that you chose to first hear from a data center industry partner? The data center lobby is tearing a blood-soaked page from the tobacco and pharmaceutical industry playbook. Parties that are directly invested in industry success are giving you a polished PowerPoint filled with minimized environmental harm and overblown fiscal positives. One such talking point is that we should build these data centers because they're driving the economy. But whose economy are we talking about? It's not the people's economy. The top 10% own 90% of total household wealth, 90% of corporate stocks, 90% of publicly traded stock. So when you wax poetic about the economy, what you're really saying is that you want to protect the precious profit of wealthy individuals and big business who are actively using AI to replace blue and white collar jobs alike instead of seeing the real, tangible life and death costs of real people. The people of Greensboro do not want data centers. Today, NBC News reports that a Virginia Republican state senator demanded an immediate moratorium on all new data center development after a grid disturbance that was so bad they warned it could cause a blackout across the entire East Coast. You may be seduced by the promise of potential profit, but we, the people, see through the manipulative tactics of the developers, the insulting public parks, the pathetic community funds for property value that only makes up 0.03% of their billion-dollar proposals. These are not positives. It's spritzing perfume on cancer-causing diesel exhaust. It's adding a pink umbrella to the glass of a muddy brown well water. It's throwing pennies at people's pain and expecting us to rejoice. The data center lobby is also trying to convince you that ignoring the wishes of the people through seemingly positive stories are okay, like in Louisiana, where they were able to give teachers bonuses with data center tax revenue. Teachers do deserve more money, so much more. But data center lobbyists are making this a manufactured either-or situation to suppress unified and valid public outrage. They're basically saying, if you, the people, don't allow AI data centers to poison your air, water, and soil, make your property values plummet, and ensure you never get a good night's sleep again, then the people are denying poor, deserving teachers good pay. But it doesn't have to be this way. You could take a small fraction of the money that you give in corporate handouts and actually help the people. You could tell big business to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and stop relying on taxpayer dollars so you could pay teachers what they're worth. But that would require that you stop licking the boots of big business first.
Thank you. Thank you. Sandra Isley.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Isley. I'm going to try and get through this. I got some personal issues. Anyhow, we know the issues with data centers. We know it causes health problems, noise pollution, water pollution, and so on. The thing that made me come back down here tonight was not those issues. It was the response that we got from those who voted the way they did after the vote was taken and the consultant was coming in. I found it very disturbing how some people addressed the way they voted. And I just wanted to come down here and let you all know, humble yourselves. The same way you got those seats are the same way you can lose those seats. Okay? We're all learning, as we did tonight, and I thank Judge Cubbage for addressing that issue and explaining it better. We were sold down the drain for 28 jobs at $15 an hour. As we know, $15 an hour is not enough. When they're asking for the type of money they're asking for rental properties these days, if you're not offering what Toyota is offering us today in pay, we don't want it, okay? I cannot understand how you can give data centers the incentives that you all give them and cannot give us the incentives we need to keep our children safe and in a safe space. But you can give data center the money that they need to give us bad health and air pollution and all of that. We got to take in consideration what it is doing to us as a people when we are asking these businesses to come here. Okay, I'm taking it personal tonight when I hear about the shooting with those young people because my nephew was unalived last September and his murder still remains unsolved today. Okay, that's why I'm getting a little emotional. We got to understand, buildings don't save people, people save people. Okay? So you can see I'm getting very upset at this point. I wasn't going to speak tonight after you all addressed the issue early on. I still didn't get the fullness of what y'all voted on, and I want you all to explain that a little better so we know how to address this data center that's coming. But I said, no, I'm going to take the issue and come to the floor and let y'all know. You need to hear us more because I've been speaking about a youth center in my neighborhood since forever when my nephew was down here as a child. He didn't live to get that old. He was 22 when his life was taken.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
So sorry.
So
Thank
we
you.
need to do better.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Ms. Isley. Sure, sure. So,
Laura, can you give an explanation of what we just did, what we voted on, what that means?
So what the city council voted on tonight was to move forward and with putting the moratorium in place. Because the law requires certain things, the first thing you all had to do was vote and come to a consensus to actually move forward with that. The next thing we have to do is we have to have a public hearing, and we have to publish it in the newspaper. It requires a 10 to 25-day publishing for the public hearing, which I think you all are going to be having the public hearing on August the 17th at 4 o'clock in these chambers. We could not do it a day before that because of the law. So once you all have the public hearing and after you hear all the public comments, and then you go back and decide exactly what you want in this moratorium, if it's anything other than what you all specified tonight, you will come back and then you will actually take a vote, and then that moratorium will be officially implemented. But you could not do it tonight because you have to have a public hearing. That's required by law.
yes, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, Ms. Isley. All right, we're going to take two more, and then we will need to take a break. It's well after 7:30 for our clerks. So I've got Tyler Goodman and Lily, and I do not know how to say your last name. Sabalvaro, maybe?
Hello, my name is Tyler Goodman from WOA, the Working Class and Houseless Organizing Alliance of Greensboro. I'd planned to come here today to condemn City Council for rejecting the moratorium on the Impact Data Raiden Data Center, but I'm glad to see that y'all have reconsidered and are now working on a moratorium. Now we can talk about what everyone really wants, a ban on data centers. I know you just said you can't do that, and so now I'm kind of at a loss. You know, if the data center has more right to land than I do, to housing, to food, to shelter, then what are y'all good for, really? I should reiterate that a moratorium is just a temporary pause, as our city council has made abundantly unclear, and still leaves us vulnerable to future attempts to build data centers. At the last meeting, y'all seemed absolutely perplexed that so many people would be in opposition to this data center, despite the overwhelming evidence from data centers across the country that they pollute environments and communities with excessive noise, forever chemicals, and require a medium-sized city's worth of power and water. Unless you've been able to innovate some technology that circumvents all these concerns and totally failed to present it to us, we will not change our mind now or at the end of the moratorium. Councilor Roth, you asked what is missing from your report so far that would convince people otherwise. The answer to that is trust. We do not trust you. Why would we? So far, this council has suppressed its own committees intended to protect tenants, justified the murder of my neighbor, Saeed Azine, hired a police chief absolutely no one wanted, and actively spoke out against at your own meetings that you hosted, continued to suppress the unhoused population of Greensboro, failed to create any meaningful protections against the expanding paramilitary forces of ICE, not to mention that we have the biggest ICE concentration camp being built here in North Carolina, and now are only pausing a data center that could be used to bolster these evils as they are across the country. We do not need data centers. We do not want data centers, so ban data centers. Thanks.
All right, Lily, and then we will have a break, 10-minute break.
Hello, my name is Lili Sabalbarro, and I'm a member of WOA. I work and play here in Greensboro, but I live in Winston-Salem, where we're also fighting against corporate giants who want to stomp on our city, want to pollute our land, air, and water, and are really excited to make a pretty buck at the cost of our health. We also recently won a moratorium, but that win was pretty light, because I'll echo what other people have said. What we need is a ban, and so apologize if I don't clap for you all tonight, because I'm not conforming with just a moratorium. What we need is a ban on data centers everywhere. I don't think there's a safe distance where an AI data center could be that we'd be okay with it. Councilmember Holston, I remember you compared AI data centers to swimming pools. The comparison is as simple as it is insulting. We aren't talking about neighborly feuds over who has the better house, whose lawn is greener, whose pool is bigger. What we're talking about are warehouse-sized buildings that house rows and rows of servers that process digital information. And with the way that AI is being pushed on us left and right, these data centers are compute hungry and therefore power hungry. I remember you guys had this closed session with a lobbyist, consultant, whatever you want to call them. And I remember one of the things they were trying to say this would bring is drivable automated cars, like with no driver necessary. And I'll let you know that I am not excited about cars that drive themselves. I'm thinking about how to feed myself, how to pay my rent, how to get insurance when now I have to prove every 6 months that I do have a job. Because, yeah, that has something to do with my health insurance. So returning back to this whole data center question, the Dream Center is proposed to be a 20-megawatt facility, which, according to what Laura Kubic just said, that would fall under a proposed moratorium if y'all were to pass one and place a permanent ban, if that were even something you're considering. But the thing about these data centers is that they're scalable. So this one at data center at A&T that was proposed as a 20-megawatt facility is planned to be scalable to 300 megawatts. I'll kind of translate what that means. 20 megawatts would be about 16,500 homes in the US if you were to average them. 300 megawatts is 250,000 homes, again, an average of the US energy consumption. So it's going to strain our water, it's going to strain our energy, and my question is, when the brownouts begin and the supply of power is too scarce for the demand, who will decide between supplying energy to people's homes or to an AI data center? Are we supposed to trust Duke Energy that they'll protect private consumers over corporate giants who have corporate AI money backing them? This is the same company, mind you, that tried to pass an 18% hike on rates for the specific purpose to upgrade their power grids and create more power plants to meet the demand of AI.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Go ahead. Mayor Pro Tem would like to make a comment.
I just wanted to confirm with the city attorney that the item that is being referred to, that is an active potential data center to come online, and it's not scaled at 300 megawatts. In the agreement that you referred to earlier does not have it at such. I know that it has changed over time, but 300 megawatts is not something that's about to descend on people's neighborhoods.
No, the data center, the impact data is not, from what I know and what I've read and what I've seen, there's no contract that says that it is going to be allowed to scale or even that it has intent to scale. Also, I want to make sure that the public understands this council cannot undo the Dream Center, and I think the speaker commented that it would fall under the moratorium that you all passed. It absolutely will not. The law does not let you all retroactively go back and counsel out something that's already been approved. You can only move present and forward. And so there's nothing that this council can do about that impact center as it stands right now.
And just to clarify, there was an earlier version that did show a much larger center. It's not that this young lady is coming out of thin air, but it's just, I just wanted to, because this is something that is going to be active, well, potentially active soon, we don't know, but it's not looking at 300 megawatts sitting on that site.
I don't even think that site can hold a 300 megawatt center because of the square footage it would have to be. That site is just not able to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. We will now take our break, and if we can hold it to right around 10 minutes, please. Thank you.
Welcome to Gate City Insider. I'm Rosemary Plyben. Greensboro has it all: growing businesses, big-time sports, green spaces, higher education, and incredible arts organizations. Creative Greensboro wants to make sure the world knows that Greensboro is a destination for the arts. Jackie Boone is Chief Creative Economy Officer. She has the very best title in all of the city of Greensboro. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you.
So glad to have you here. So let's start with, what is Creative Greensboro?
Creative Greensboro is the city's office for art and culture. So I like to think of us as a catalyst for creative development in the city. We support nonprofit arts organizations, creative individuals. We provide free and low-cost experiences in the cultural center downtown and also throughout the city. So we do a lot of things.
Yeah, you touch how many different organizations?
Oh
Any
my
idea?
gosh, on average, I would say maybe 75 to 100 a year through various ways that we participate with people.
And thousands of people interact with Creative Greensboro, whether they actually know that's who they're interacting with or not.
Absolutely. There are some people who actually say to me, the nonprofit Creative Greensboro. No, we are part of the city. This is city supported, and this is the city's way of showing direct investment into the art and cultural sector.
Yeah, does this happen in every city? I mean, I would think no.
It does not, and that's why Greensboro is such a gem, that we have a dedicated office to focus specifically on arts and culture and to provide access in this specific way to the cultural community. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it really is fun because it really does make a community. It really turns it around. What makes Greensboro an art destination?
Greensboro is an arts destination for several reasons. We have something for everyone in every season. If you want to do something small and intimate, you can do a small intimate theater. If you want to do something a bit larger, we have a beautiful music scene here. Go to an outdoor festival. Folk Fest, of course, is coming up. That's a wonderful staple in the creative community. Tanger Center also has amazing offerings. All year round, we have something for everybody. So I think it makes us kind of quirky and unique. You don't have to go to Charlotte. You don't have to drive to Durham. You can stay right here and experience something wonderful and intimate and specialized just for your artistic taste. Or you can come to us because we have what you're looking for. So Greensboro really is a destination for all types of artistic disciplines.
Yeah, you can just drive through town. You'll see public art everywhere you go.
All parts of town, exactly.
Yeah, and people are probably thinking, well, I'm not an artist. I'm not creative. Like, that doesn't apply to me. But that's not true. I mean, you're listening to music in your car, right?
Exactly.
You're creative.
Exactly. Yeah, we all play a part in this creative economy. I think that's a very specific point. You don't have to be the artist to participate. Support your local artist. Support your local store. Support your local creative. You're participatory in this process.
Yeah, buy a T-shirt that an artist made. I mean, it's all part of the art scene. I love that. Okay, so some things coming back this year. The Cultural Pass program. What is that?
So excited for the Culture Pass program. So this is a partnership that we have with the Greensboro Public Library, where we provide free passes for cultural experiences between May and September. Very excited about this. Some of the organizations that we're supporting, their offerings are already free, but folks don't know about them. But you can go to the library and find out more what's happening culturally in the city. But then there are other organizations like the Pearl. They're brand new. The Children's Museum, the Science Center. We have purchased passes from them to provide free experiences for the public. So you can go to the local library, downtown branch on the Church Street, and look and see what offerings are available. Get a couple of passes and experience art and culture in the city.
Wow, just with a library card?
Just with the library card.
Wow, that's amazing. From May to September.
From May to September. We have about 150 plus passes already signed up in the program, so I'm very excited to launch the program again this year.
How fun is that? That is great. Okay, some new things coming this year. Art and Culture Month. What's that? When is it? What is it?
Art and Culture Month in Greensboro is the month of May officially.
Okay.
So this came about because several departments within the city have their own specific month to highlight different causes around the city, which makes total sense. Art and culture, we need our own month.
Yeah.
We need our month not just for Creative Greensboro programming, but because the sector is huge and there are so many things that are happening across the city in terms of art and culture. The sector really is a driver for economic development. The arts means business. So this is a time that we can really focus on the arts, not just the celebration of it, but also the business of it. So this is a time for arts organizations to be highlighted, for local businesses, creative businesses to be highlighted, and of course, programming to be elevated and supported throughout the city.
Okay, what about Culture Works? What's this?
Culture Works, very excited about Culture Works. This is new for Creative Greensboro. This is our new signature event for Arts and Culture Month. It's a one-day free arts and culture fair that we're going to have in the cultural district. We have amazing anchor institutions within the cultural district. We've all gotten together to produce this wonderful one-day event. We're going to have everything from fashion, indoor fashion experiences, to outdoor art galleries, to art battles, to podcast pavilions. It's going to be an art explosion all day long. Free. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited about this.
Okay, when is this?
This is May 23rd from 11 to 8 p.m.
So fun.
Yes.
Wow, and that's going to be where?
This is going to be in the Greensboro Cultural Center, LeBauer Park, the Greensboro Museum, and the library. So we're using all the cultural assets within the cultural district to really elevate and celebrate art and culture this month.
That's so much fun. I love it. Okay, so what are you, I mean, you've told us a lot of things. Is there like one specific thing you are so looking forward to this spring and summer when it comes to creative things in Greensboro?
Obviously, I'm excited about CultureWorks. It's brand new. It's our baby. We're pumped about that and all the other offerings that Creative Greensboro has to offer this spring and summer. But I'm most excited for people to be outside. This winter was brutal. So the fact that we have more than 15 festivals, from culinary to literary to dance to music, all happening between now, ranging all the way through up into September, October. I'm excited for people to be outside, to be activated, to be encouraged, to be inspired. So people come outside and be inspired.
You brought the sunshine with you today.
Yes, I did. I tried to.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so when you are feeling creative, Jackie, what do you do?
These days, I'm really focused on being a creative producer. I'm a writer and a filmmaker by trade. That's my jam. That's my lane. But I really am excited about being a producer. I have a lot of experience producing large-scale events before coming to Greensboro in Charlotte, in New York, and in Baltimore. But now I really get excited going to other people's events and becoming inspired, and then seeing how we can collaborate or how we can promote people more. How can we use the arts to tell the story of Greensboro? That is my sole passion these days, and I'm really excited to be delving deeper into that lane.
What is that story? What is the story you want to tell with the arts in Greensboro?
I definitely want people to know this is not a drive-through city. This is an arts destination. There is something for you. You can be creative, you can be outgoing and excitable, have that kind of experience, or you can have something intimate and meaningful and cultural and small. This is a charming city with big energy, and I want people to feel like they're welcome here and that this is a beautiful, special city that everyone should experience.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for spending some time with us. You can find out more about Creative Greensboro and all the good things happening on the art scene in Greensboro. Just go to creativegreensboro.com. Again, creativegreensboro.com will get you right where you need to go. All right, when we come back, music, poetry, theater. Oh my! Stay with us. Welcome back to Gate City Insider. Our creative juices are flowing today, and how could they not be with a house full of artists? Meredith Cornto, Music Programming and Operations Specialist with Creative Greensboro. Also Todd Fisher, Performing Arts Coordinator. Hello and welcome. Hi. So glad you're here today.
Thank you.
All right, let's start with music this summer, this spring and this summer. What can we expect?
Oh, we've got big things. We've got big things planned. On June 6th, the Philharmonia is presenting its final spring concert, and it's going to be a big one. Our conductor, Peter Perret, is going to be retiring after 10, 15 years, so we're really hoping to celebrate him and make that a special concert. So that's a big deal. That'll be at 7:30 at Dana Auditorium. At Guilford College. So that's the last of our indoor series, and then we move on to MUSEP.
We love that. Always music for a Sunday evening in the park, right? Okay, and we're hitting all the parks this year, or lots of parks this year.
Yep, we've got 5 parks. We're going to start off on June 14th with the Greensboro Big Band at Lindley Park.
Always a big hit.
Yes,
Yeah.
We'll have a little spot for dancers. We always get a good turnout of dancers there. June 28th, we'll have the Greensboro Concert Band at LeBauer Park. That's always a big hit as well. July 19th, we'll be at Barber Park featuring the 4J Band and Songbird Raven and the Nest is the name of her. 2 new bands for us this year.
I love that name.
And then we've got August 9th, we will have West End Mambo, a salsa group that will be at Hester Park, followed by August 23rd, Africa Unplugged at Country Park.
So much fun.
Spreading it all out over the summer, and it's going to be...
How many years of MUSEP now?
I think we're in year 46 or 47.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, most of us don't remember a time without it.
Yeah.
But for those who have not been, can you kind of paint a picture of what it's like to go to one of these concert events?
Yeah. Concerts start at 6 o'clock wherever we are. We have added in the last few years food trucks, so we will have one sweet and one savory truck on site for your refreshments. Yeah, and then most of these concerts are just going to feature the one band, so they'll play a 45-minute set, take a little break, and then another 45-minute set. In the case of Barber Park, we do have two bands, so they will switch over there at the half. So we finish up around 8 o'clock as it's starting to get dark. But it's a good time. People can bring their own picnics or partake of the food trucks that are on site. So either way, it's a good time to be together.
Bring your chairs, bring your blankets, bring your kids.
Yes.
Everybody is welcome.
Whole family, exactly.
Yes, so much fun. Thank you. Okay, so Todd, I understand you're going to bring some music to the stage this summer. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we're excited to bring Bye Bye Birdie out to the Virginia Somerville Sutton Theater this summer. So
that's at Wellspring.
That's at Wellspring, yeah, otherwise known as Wellspring, yeah. So auditioning in May, so plenty of time to sign up to audition. Yeah, rehearse, and it goes up June 25th through the 28th.
Okay, so much fun. All right, so tell us about this show.
Bye Bye Birdie. It's got lots of famous songs to it. Put on a Happy Face, which everybody remembers that jingle. I won't whistle it for everybody right now because it'll be stuck in your head for the rest of the day.
It already is going to be there,
Kids these days, so you hear that a lot repurposed in a lot of commercial and TV, radio. So it takes this, it's not about Conrad Birdie, although that's the title of the play. It's about his producer team, and particularly Rosie, who is trying to get Alfred to quit the music business. And they cook up this big scheme for Conrad Birdie, who gets drafted into the Army, not too unlike a certain similar other person around the 60s that was drafted into the Army. They cook up the scheme to get him to say farewell to America by kissing the president of his fan club out in this small town. So they travel from New York to a small town. Lots of hijinks ensue. Things do not go the way they are planned. And then, like most musicals of that era, most things come together in the end, but Rosie does get her way at the end, and that's what everybody really loves the story for. It was Chita Rivera's breakout role, won the Tony that year for that, and kind of set her on her path to stardom. So great musical, great songs. We plan on having a big ensemble and incorporating some film work too, which is part of the story. So,
oh, great, and that's another one that's an all ages kind of show.
All ages, yep, absolutely. All ages show to participate in, and also all ages for everybody to come see it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, and tell me about Sonnet Fest. Back for another year.
Back by popular demand, which was great. So we did Sonnet Fest last year. It's a little hard to describe what Sonnet Fest is, but I'm going to try to do it. So yes, it is Shakespeare's sonnets. This year we're going to do sonnets 51 through 101, so just 50 of the sonnets. Last year we had about...
Oh, just 50.
Just 50, yeah. And we had 4 different collaborators on board, so it's not just me coaching 50 different actors. We had Scrap Metal, Share Ratings Performing Arts with us, also a little independent theater, and then Creative Greensboro. We all took a group of actors. We all got randomly assigned sonnets to do, so we didn't get to handpick them. And then we all picked a floor of the Cultural Center to perform in, and that was our stage. So there was lots of different creative iterations of the sonnets, not just a stand and recite. Some were sung, some were danced, some were done as group pieces. And we're proud this year to be partnering with Parks and Rec. So we're going to be the first Shakespeare in the Park on the downtown Greenway.
That's going to be cool.
So we're going to use the public art as backdrops, as set pieces basically. And the audience will travel up and down the Greenway to see the different performances.
Great. So kind of on the west side of the Greenway?
On the west side this year, yeah.
Yeah, so which is what we know as the Final Mile, which which is opening this spring for the first time,
So to bring an eye to the public art there, which is part of what we do here at Creative Greensboro, and then also give the community an opportunity to perform. So all the performers are volunteers. It was so much fun last year, so we're looking forward to sweating it out on the Greenway this year, but it'll be fun. The audience can travel on their own, they can walk, they can take a bird scooter, and then we'll have mobility options too, so everyone can come and participate.
Sweating with the Sonnets.
Sweating with the Sonnets, there we go, Sweating with the Sonnets. Maybe that will be on the back of our t-shirts.
That could be very fun. That could be a whole lot of fun. Okay, so, you talked about, you can audition, you can come to shows, you can come to see the music. How is the best way to keep up with all the great things happening with Creative Greensboro?
Well, definitely our social media channels.
We're back in session. Council is all in here. All right, Marilyn Lacunza Marilyn Lacunza, Dominique Bradley, and Chris Latham. Huh? Yeah, that's less.
Sorry, y'all bear with me. I'm still in denial that I need reading glasses.
It's fine.
My name is Marilyn, and I am here because I no longer feel safe in Greensboro. I appreciate the motion to make amendments in the moratorium as well as hosting a meeting to hear the community specifically, to hear the community specifically around the topic. Like we all have said, it's still not enough, and I still have an issue. Greensboro says it wants to be a place where people can live, work, play, and grow, but I don't feel safe leaving my house knowing that surveillance continues to expand while transparency continues to vanish with each passing issue. I'm sorry?
The clock was going crazy. Hold on just 1 second until we get it fixed. Sorry. We want to make sure you get all the time you deserve.
So much.
Okay, wait a minute. We've got to get to 3 minutes. There
can't
we
see
go.
that far. Can y'all let me know?
Are we good? All right.
Can you
Super.
let me know when to go? I can't see.
Go ahead now.
Okay. Lost my place. It continued to vanish with each passing issue where we have to circle back to a topic because decisions were made without having all of the information. I don't feel safe speaking out when we fear retaliation for asking questions, and I don't feel safe knowing that immigrant families in our communities are living in constant fear by the hush operations actively being conducted around Greensboro in cooperation with ICE. Just recently, after ICE activity at the Waffle House on Randleman Road, members of our community immediately reached out for help and support. I personally reached out for support and help. Yet it was publicly stated that no one had reached out. That is not true. We are beyond the point of asking for honesty, accountability, and transparency about what happened and how the city responds when its people and our loved ones are taken into federal custody with foreseeable risks. For me, personally, my brother was in Stewart Detention Center in Georgia. Currently, he's being detained in Basel, Louisiana. As of Thursday last week, he was medically transferred to ICU for allegedly attempting on his life. This is just one example of the foreseeable risks. For me, the relationship the city has with its people is personal. A relationship is I take care of you, you take care of me. You tell me your concerns, I tell you mine, and we both listen. Because of our relationship, I do not feel safe. I do not feel safe with the expansion of Flock camera technology through Greensboro. We still do not have clear answers about who has access to this data, how long it is stored, what agencies can search it, how information can be shared with other law enforcement agencies through regional intelligence networks. We also know Greensboro is home to Leonardo, a company developing advanced surveillance technology. And if this is the first time you hear of Leonardo, you might want to write that one down. We deserve to know where the lines are drawn between public safety, private technology, and our civil liberties. Across North Carolina, we recently responded to the operation at Wilson's Creek in Lenoir, where multiple law enforcement agencies worked alongside federal immigrant authorities. Families who were simply trying to spend time together were ambushed, and families were torn apart. That fear does not stop at the county line. Who's to say we're not next? Well, we are. It reaches Greensboro every single day. This is beginning to feel like a relationship where one of us cheated and trust is broken, and it was not us. You can apologize, you can make promises, but words alone are not enough to repair what has already been done. Trust is rebuilt through actions, transparency, accountability, and physical change. We voted for a government that values public participation. No resident should feel intimidated for exercising their First Amendment rights, for questioning those elected to serve them. Progressive government means putting people before profit. It means protecting civil liberties, embracing transparency, and earning the public's trust, not asking for it while withholding information or retaliating against its constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Then I have Dominique Brett. Oh, I'm sorry.
I saw a rumor about that on social media. We were never able to confirm that. No one called GPD. We never saw any photos of it or anything like that. This has been a week or so ago. We've had a number of these sort of online social media saying ICE is here, ICE is there. We have not confirmed a single one of those reports.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. I'm also, I didn't get
I know that I'm friends with a lot of you out on social media. I'm going to leave my card up with Gary and folks so you can have my city number, my city cell phone, so contact me anytime. And also, Assistant City Manager Harold, do you mind telling folks, we spoke earlier about the cameras, if you can give everybody an update so we can know exactly where we are.
Sure. So we have 73 LPR cameras, not flock. They are Verkada cameras. We have 73 of them in 25 locations around the city. Those are truly just license plate readers, or that's the way that we are using them. So what happens is if a license plate gets called in, we put it on what's called a hot list. If that license plate then passes one of our LPRs, we get an alert. Officers are not allowed to do anything with that alert until they confirm it in some way. So like a law enforcement investigative way. We don't just go out stopping cars because a license plate reader, pinged that it went by. So not only does this help with law enforcement activity, it also helps for misidentification. So if somebody says a white car ran into me and we have an LPR there that caught the license plate, then we don't stop the wrong white car just because it's in the area, if that makes sense. And so it helps with misidentification just as much as it helps with figuring out where vehicles are that may have been involved in a crime. We do not share this data. It is very securely housed. We do not keep it for more than 30 days. And so this idea that we're just, filming people, that's not what's going on. It's truly just the creation of this list of cars that we need to identify because they were involved in some sort of criminal activity and then figuring out where those cars are.
So 25 cameras, we know where they are. That's public information. And those have been in place since, 2021, 2022?
We started implementation of the program in late 2020. The first cameras were put out in 2021. Originally, we did have a contract with Flock. We no longer do, and we do not use their cameras.
Okay, so that's where we are.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead, Dominique.
Yes. So my name is Dominique Bradley. I'm super happy to be here tonight. So I moved to Greensboro in 2017 when I went to UNCG, go Spartans. And since then, I now work for a nonpartisan voting organization. So I am constantly out in the community, essentially just helping people with their voting rights and things of that nature. And when I'm not doing that, I'm volunteering with Out of the Garden Project with food insecurity. And so I just feel like through all of the times that I have been out, whether it's personal, whether it's for work, or just me trying to give back to the community, obviously, there are many issues that are happening in Greensboro, but the biggest two are homelessness and food insecurity. I feel like I come across so many people who need resources related to that. So I feel like if there's going to be any form of investment in Greensboro, it shouldn't be a data center, but it should be something that's going to help with those two issues. I understand obviously there are many more, but those are just the main two that I come across like on a daily basis. I get, obviously, you guys are saying that it's not you directly that are the ones that can fully, push back on data centers. And the little, halt for 120 days, it's cute, she's cute, but I really feel like there's definitely a way to kind of push back more. I'll do my best to reach out to legislator and the governor. I'm loud. I can be loud anytime I need to be loud. But I really do feel like as a city, it will make so much sense because obviously it seems like so far of all the speakers here, everyone is anti the data center. It seems like you guys received a lot of feedback and DMs and comments about being anti-data center. So I really feel like you guys should kind of just continue with that push. Again, I get the whole little 120 push is a little thing for now, and I'll be back in 120 days. And I'll keep coming back. But I just really feel like we should definitely do what we can to kind of maybe get a more permanent stop on it, because not only is Greensboro the largest city in Guilford County, but Greensboro also has the most colleges. So not only is it just community members of all ages, races, backgrounds, but you also have literally 6 schools, UNCG, A&T, Bennett, GTCC, and there's 3 locations, but one in Greensboro, Guilford College and Greensboro College. So we have thousands upon thousands of students on top of thousands upon thousands of residents. And the noise pollution, the air quality, the water damage, everything that a data center does, it literally will affect all of us. And at the end of the day, there ain't enough money to really fix all that damage. So I just really hope that you guys do continue to listen to everyone that is anti the data centers and continue to push back until we're able to get, state to do a more permanent ban, because they're really not going to do anything. They are not helpful. And then I did just want to point out, I know we've been talking about the National Little Heat Week, and I think somebody even mentioned it, but I kind of wanted to just shed light on that a tiny bit more. I actually even read an article that talked about how even though we're experiencing a lot of heat domes, we are all hot, data centers, the area that's around them, they typically get roughly 3 to 16 degrees hotter. So imagine the heat that we already in, and then add 3 to 16 degrees Fahrenheit to that. we're going to be melting in the streets. So I just would really encourage you guys to please do your best to just like continue to listen to everybody and just say no to the data centers.
Thank you. Thank you. Chris Latham, followed by Natalie Van Guyder. I'm not sure I said that correctly.
My name is Christopher Latham, and I'm a proud organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And I think the folks here today have made it very clear, and I think I speak for everyone when I say we do not want data centers in Greensboro. Almost no one does, and it's clear that only a minority of people throughout the country actually want this. Every time a moratorium discussion arises, the community turns out and makes it clear that we don't want this. Data centers despoiling our communities, pumping poison into our environments. Everyone up there universally addresses the heat wave as an issue, but what good is awareness if you don't address the root cause of it? The fact that the planned Greensboro data center is planned for East Greensboro shows where the data centers are going to hit the hardest. You might not be able to control anything about it already going through, but I think it sets a pattern that this is going to hit the historically most exploited and marginalized part of the city. The majority of people don't want that data centers, that is clear. And forcing it through to push forward a personal agenda is at best extreme ignorance and at worst a complete violation of every citizen in Greensboro. It took the city 30 years to even issue a regret statement about the Greensboro massacre. Will it be another 30 before you issue a statement about the impact of these data centers? I implore everyone up there who voted yes to address their constituents, not from up there, but down there at their level publicly. Meet with them informally. Listen to their outrage and concerns. If you can't do that, then you should really, in the most respectful way possible, reconsider your ability to serve the people of Greensboro. I'll end with this. Extend the moratorium, serve your citizens, and represent all of Greensboro, East and West, and put pressure on the state legislators instead of voting it in 5-4. You tell us to put pressure on the state legislators, but we are working class people, busy with jobs, busy with our lives. Your job is to represent us. We should not have to do your job for you. If I told my boss to go do my job for me, I'd probably get fired. I was going to be a lot more light about this. I was going to ease a little pressure off, especially when I heard you guys were reconsidering the moratorium. But some of the responses you have had to some of the people on this podium really came off as victimizing yourselves. People with power victimizing yourselves and telling us to do your jobs for you. So don't victimize yourselves. Be better. You're politicians elected to represent us, to represent all of Greensboro, East and West, and please represent the marginalized. Do better than the city councils of Greensboro that have come before you.
Thank you. Natalie Van Gelder, I think is better, yes. And then I've got Robert Young and Alejandro R.
Hello to Madam Mayor and to the Council. Thank you for letting me speak today. I'm a student at UNCG and I've been a resident of Greensboro my whole life. I'm a freelance animator. I'd like to speak. I know it's been talked about a lot and people will probably phrase things better than me. But against the data center. Data centers greatly contribute to the city heat island effect and global warming, something of great concern, especially with the Heat Awareness Week. Impact data is being built on the east side of Greensboro, which is largely occupied by minority groups due to historic redlining practices. Next to A&T, a historically black college. It claims to be an equity program, but it's built on exploitation. Any residents near this data center will now hear its horrible noise, constantly 24/7. It's been recorded at 70 decibels from residential areas, which can cause real damage over time. I know you can't take back that data center, but just be aware of doing what you can for the communities affected by it. Data centers steal our water and pollute it. They pollute our air. They have poisoned communities and forced people away from their homes to focus on their health. They take inordinate amounts of power to run. Impact data will take 20 megawatts of power, equivalent to the impact of 15,000 to 16,000 homes. We want infrastructure that uplifts communities, sidewalks that don't end in the middle of nowhere housing for the homeless, not this that benefits corporations backed by billionaires. Data centers here and across the nation prioritize a falsified sense of efficiency to serve the billionaires backing them while disregarding human health and safety, disregarding our environment. Our lakes, our forests, what about those? I can tell you for sure that the data centers are not about to help them out. I thank the Council for hearing our response and reconsidering the moratorium, but I ask them to continue, please, focusing on the priorities. I hope that the priorities are the health and safety of your constituents. So please continue fighting for us to prevent future data construction. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Young, Alejandro R., and then Josh Morrison.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Robert Young, and I'm here to speak out on the issue of the data center, the Dream Center. While the conditional moratorium is certainly appreciated, the need for a blanket moratorium on all data centers for as long as you can implement it remains apparent. As a resident less than 6 miles from the site of the now postponed but not yet terminated Dream Center, I urge Council to consider a full and permanent halt on any data center project in city limits. Data centers are a threat to all Greensboro residents for a multitude of reasons. Most pressingly is the concerns over access to power for our homes. As the climate crisis increasingly threatens to squeeze our city-wide infrastructure and power grid, we cannot accelerate that process by allowing data centers, which rely on coal and fossil fuels, to fuel their massive megawatt demand. Even a data center under 10 megawatts uses energy to power 7,500 homes. Allocating that energy to a data center over our homes is unacceptable. Additionally, the data center is a part of a larger trend of deteriorating privacy as Greensboro residents become increasingly surveilled. These massive databases housed in the data centers can be and are used by law enforcement, allowing them to potentially abuse and harass those they either dislike or like too much. Lastly, the location of the Dream Center in East Greensboro near a renowned HBCU is no coincidence. The decision to build there was a calculated move to target the most underserved residents of this city. The reality of the situation is that any and all data centers are a threat to Greensboro residents of all backgrounds. And while this 100-day conditional moratorium is preferable to no moratorium, the people of Greensboro will not rest until we get a permanent moratorium on all data centers citywide. It is important that our civil servants understand just how irresponsible it is to prioritize the demands of large AI firms over the well-being of Greensboro residents. It is infuriating to watch as City Council bends over backwards for big money interests and big tech while also not taking any measures possible to prevent this data center from being constructed. The legalese and lying about how you can and cannot help us do how you cannot stop the data centers is infuriating, and I implore you to stop the data center before the people stop it themselves.
Thank you. Alejandro R., Josh Morrison, Estelle Bowden. Are they in the room? One more time. Josh, Estelle, Alejandro. Okay, we will move on. Luis Medina, Del Stone, and then Daniel Holloway.
Hello, I'm Luis Medina. I want to begin by showing some thankfulness to the moratorium, the passing of the moratorium. Go ahead and give yourselves a round of applause. The people who did it, the public, all of you out there, anybody who's listening at home, go ahead and give yourselves a round of applause. Because let's be real, that moratorium wouldn't have gotten passed if we didn't pressure them. And now that you've demonstrated two things that you could easily get a moratorium passed. I'm wondering why, for the 8 years that I've been coming here, why you've not produced housing for the houseless, accountability for the police, freezes on rent, and why don't you have the legal power to ban moratoriums permanently? Do corporations have more power than you? It seems interesting because you always seem to have excuses when we need something. It's either you don't have the money, or you don't have the legal precedence, or you don't have the power. Then why do we need you? But then when developers need something from you, AI, technocrats, or some scheming capitalist, all of a sudden Greensboro is open for business. Isn't that right, Adam? All of a sudden, our home is just a used car lot. Isn't that right? Or as Denise Ross said, it's inevitable. We should just accept it. It drinks our water, it drains our electricity, it dirties our air, and the only service it provides is a police state and surveillance. But if the billionaires want it, well, by God, they'll have it. Isn't that right? It's a story old as time. When we need something, it's impossible. When they need something, it's inevitable. What else do you call that other than a dictatorship? What else are y'all there for as our representatives other than to sell this dictatorship as a democracy to us? Well, I say if it's going to be a dictatorship, then it might as well be our dictatorship. A dictatorship of the plumbers, the dog walkers, the factory workers, the restaurant servers. Yeah, see, y'all don't even want to look at me now, right? And then we will allot you 3 minutes to ask us if you need something. When we want something, it'll be inevitable. Because as far as I'm concerned, and I think we can all see it, we've been living under dictatorship. And the only way we're ever going to get a democracy for us is through a dictatorship by us. Thank you.
Dill Stone, Daniel Holloway, and then Danny Giles.
I just have a really quick question that city staff, although they tried very hard, were not able to answer for me. The text of the motion that you all passed tonight, is that in writing anywhere? The text of the motion on the data center moratorium, or the motion to proceed with the moratorium, is that text in writing anywhere?
Yes.
Because it's not on the agenda. And so the public hasn't had any chance to read that. And I feel like there's a contradiction between some of the specifics that were mentioned and the fact that you aren't actually drafting the moratorium specifics until after you've held a public hearing.
No, the public hearing is on the 17th.
Yes, but what was the text that you all read earlier?
To create a plan of a moratorium.
Plan.
The rules that we're required to follow is to agree to establish a plan for a moratorium. The moratorium itself will be voted on after.
But you mentioned megawatt specifics, et cetera, and a time frame. Because I heard 120 days, I heard 180 days, I heard 60 days. Like.
Yes, the motion was.
I don't want to use all my time on this. I really just want to ask a clarifying question on that. But
they've stopped the clock.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
The motion was any data center facility with an electrical power demand exceeding 10 megawatts, and it goes on to say for 120 days.
Okay.
In duration.
Okay, and is that publicly available, that text?
Yes,
it will be.
It will be.
It will be, but it's not when you voted on it.
These were discussions that council had, and we brought it with us this evening. So it could have not passed, for instance, or it could have passed. This is just to start a process.
But either way, shouldn't that be publicly available? And that's why there's an agenda for all the
Not all
things you vote
agenda
on?
items are publicly available. I had 3 that were not.
Yeah, I noticed there were others as well. But I'm just, so why are there specifics about the nature of the moratorium if the public hearing
Madam
hasn't been
City
held yet?
Attorney, maybe you can explain.
This was not on the agenda because it was not concrete that you all were going to do it.
Correct.
That's why you all had your council comments first, and then that's why I think it was Council Member Thurm that actually brought that motion to pass. Because it was not on the agenda, it did not have to be made publicly available. And even if it was on the agenda, it still does not have to be made publicly available by law. The public hearing, which you all will have on August the 17th at 4 o'clock, is exactly that, the public hearing. That's when everything that you all decide that you want to do will be made publicly available.
Thank you.
Just for clarification, Madam City Attorney, council has the ability to add an item to the agenda or to make a motion from the dais.
Council has the agenda to add, take away, not even, and you also have the ability that if something's on the agenda to pass over it, if you all make a on-the-spot decision that you don't want to bring it up. It's council's agenda.
So is what the item that Councilor Thurm read, is that what's going to be up for public hearing, including the specifics in that?
It will be more specific when they flesh it out. Council has the ability outside of a council meeting to have what they call small groups to either talk to one another over the phone or even in their offices and determine what they want to come out here and do. It does not those conversations do not have to be made public. Now, when they get ready to take that vote, it will be public. When they decide what they want specifically in this moratorium, it will absolutely be made public. That is when it will be made for public consumption. Once you all decide exactly the language that you want in it, it will go through legal as well as planning and zoning to make sure that the language is correct. Then you all will be able to publicize it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So there will actually be, in effect, 2 public hearings. There is one public hearing on the 17th to listen, and that we will not be making a proposal at that time. That will be strictly to listen to what the public would like. Once the ordinance is written, then the written ordinance will be published, and we will have a public hearing on the proposed ordinance. I hope that helps
That clarifies that part. I just still wondering where that text you read came from, but no matter.
It came from Councilwoman Thurm deciding how she wanted to speak tonight and deciding to write it down so she could remember it. I don't know. It might have came on the spot. It might have came yesterday.
Well, it came through discussions that we had to try to come up with agree to have the moratorium.
But those figures aren't set in stone.
Not arguing about it. That happened this week. And so the idea is that we wanted to move forward as quickly as we could to get the motion. You have to present a motion first.
Yeah, and I know you did that the other week, and I
No.
appreciate that.
Yeah, well, it didn't fly.
I know.
So now we have
yeah.
to go back.
But my
and present
question is
that motion.
between when you made that motion and before you voted for it, and then the moratorium proposal.
Yeah,
that was
we're getting
presented
into a
tonight.
question and answer that could be said
It's just-
offline.
whatever.
You have 2 minutes
but
left.
Congrats for seeing where the wind is blowing on this.
Understood.
Aside from the tragedy of errors that with tonight's legislative theater, it is difficult to understand why this proposal is still so milk toast. Demonstrating or feigning ignorance on the subject is frankly disqualifying. You know that data centers are becoming the issue of the day, or you should, because they compress the worst excesses of the capitalist economy into one grotesque package, and we've heard all about that from many speakers tonight. There are demonstrable, tangible costs to this infrastructure, while its promoters on this dais cannot demonstrate a single tangible benefit, nothing besides vague gestures at innovation. I want people to understand that data centers are connected to all of the problems people have with politics today. The outsized influence of tech oligarchs and their blood money, the invasive surveillance state, the degradation of the environment, the mindlessness of artificial intelligence, the list goes on. While this council claims they have an informal hold and now they are trying to move forward to get a moratorium on new data center construction, they're actively contributing to the expansion of data center infrastructure through their vast network of policing technology. Think about the Flock and Verkada cameras all around town and the city's push for residents and businesses to integrate their own private cameras into policing databases. The countless hours of high-quality video footage these cameras collect have to be stored and processed somewhere. Data centers are surveillance centers. The surveillance state cannot exist without them. And every second those cameras run marks another theft of our privacy and resources to capitalist grotesque hordes of wealth and power. Officials who cannot be trusted to seriously restrain these monuments to fear, voyeurism, and delusion cannot be trusted in your positions of power. And until politicians gain the shred of moral clarity needed to fully and completely oppose them, we know they oppose us.
Thank you. Daniel Holloway, followed by Danny Giles, followed by Tara Watterson. Your name so I can mark you off, please.
I'm sorry.
What's your name so I can mark you off?
Daniel Holloway.
Daniel Holloway. Thank you.
Good evening, all. I am a teacher with Guilford County Schools and a member of the North Carolina Association of Educators. I'll be brief, but I wanted to add mine to the cacophony of voices against the construction of this data center, as well as to thank the council members who initially stood against it. It serves to pollute the city's water supply, contaminate the air, and drive up the electric bills of the surrounding businesses and homes. But furthermore, how do you want to be remembered? This is yet another hard moral stance that the city must take as it becomes more and more populous and takes on more and more international recognition. It needs to be known that this is not a city that bends to the whims of billionaires and their lack of environmental and economic caution, whether it be a data center, an ICE detention center, or harming the homeless community. Additionally, it would be shameful for a city with such a rich black population and history to have yet another American data center placed around a majority black populated area in the city, as I mapped out according to census dots. This has become a trend nationally, but I want my city to stand against this precedent. Instead, I ask that we continue to invest in recreation, affordable housing, and our youth at large. It's been proven in cities like Baltimore that measures to invest in recreation does lower the crime rate. However, curfews serve to limit individual freedom while opening a can of worms in the city in terms of the power the city has. If given free rein, the city, I feel, will continue to target majority black areas with these curfews. If we truly care about our youth, we need to do right by them, house them, let them play, and invest in their education. As shown by last weekend, we need immediate change. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Danny Giles, followed by Tara Watterson, followed by Gary Kenton.
Good evening. I had some comments prepared, but I think, to me, I want to shift instead and focus on some of the responses that I've just heard. The last time I was here, the last time I spoke was about the AHA, the detention facility, and I guess I shouldn't totally be surprised by the responses, because then all I heard was, we can't do anything. There's nothing we can do. We can put a temporary thing. We can only do it here. We can't do anything bigger. And frankly, it's really disheartening to hear a group of people who have some modicum of power to do something lecture us about what they can't do. Like, legitimately, if you can't do anything, then like, what are we all doing here? Like, what's the point? This is, I understand that you can't, just write a law that counteracts, like what the state does, what the federal does. I am aware of how our system works, but surely there are avenues. Like, just spitballing here, in the city's zoning code, you ban tanneries completely. It's just not allowed within city limits. Those were banned, presumably because tanneries pollute the area around them. They're extremely disruptive to the populace. Kind of sounds like the 18th century version of, or 19th century version of, data centers. They said, no, these can't be done, and then they just put it into the zoning code. I don't actually know when it came in, but I'm just, that's just an idea right there. Or taking a playbook from some of the people I hate the most. Down in Texas, they got rid of most of the Planned Parenthood by putting in zoning requirements about how these facilities had to be constructed within the state of Texas. And the Supreme Court told them they could go ahead and do that. This is just stuff that I came up with sitting in the chairs over here. And so to hear you guys sit up here and say, we can't do anything, we just can't ban these, it doesn't feel like you're really trying all that hard. And I'd really hope that going forward, you guys would, before you just blanket say, no, there's nothing that can be done, maybe look into some creative ways that things could get done. So that's it.
Thank you. And
Madam Mayor.
I did want to clarify very quickly, that is why we are doing this, is to put in, should we do the ordinance, guardrails and regulations through some of our departments. I just wanted to make that very clear. That's what we're doing. with
Well,
the zoning, yes.
Can
Mr.
I
Marshall.
just add to that? We're not saying nothing can be done. What we're saying is we don't have the power to say no data centers in Greensboro. Now, to your point about zoning and planning, what we're going to do after this moratorium or during this entire process is work on those rules and regulations that we can amend our land development ordinance so
Right.
that we can have better regulations, so that we can have requirements in place, so that we're protecting our community members. That's what we can do. So it's not that we can't do anything. We just can't say we don't want them here, period.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank
And
you for
I
that.
just want to add that if you would please make an effort to tune into our work sessions, you can hear us talking about these individual items. We will have a work session about environment. We will have another work session about energy. We'll have another work session about land use. These are things that are in place because a part of the moratorium is that we have to have a plan. You can't set a moratorium to be endless. You have to have a plan that's incorporated with that. So the things that you're asking for us to do, they're in the works, and we've had those conversations. What we have said repeatedly from this dais is that state law says that we can't say no to data centers, and that's not just data centers. It's to any industry that wants to come here. We can't say no, we don't want it, but we can put provisions in it that makes it a little uncomfortable for you to want to think Greensboro's attractive for that. But so I think that you put some trust in us that we are doing the work. Show up to the meetings. If you can't make the work session meetings because they're at an odd time of the day, YouTube. We have them on YouTube.
We have a city channel, yes.
Let me go in and see what they're talking about the water conservation. Let me see what they're talking about, because we want you to be engaged in this, but we don't want you to walk away thinking that those aren't tenets that we are going to address, if that's helpful.
Thank you.
Well,
Ms. Parker?
Yeah, I do want to offer you all, I still identify as a community organizer, and we have to learn right now, in this moment, co-governance. That means we have a part to play, city staff has a part to play, and you all have a part to play in this. And that means that at this time, we have to learn how to work together. We are not each other's enemy. You are, in fact, right. There are a lot of things that are in opposition of us. And it's going to take all of us to get to the other side of this. And so I see Casey Marie, who helped me raise my kid when I lived in Glenwood. I see Holden Session, my family. And so what I'm saying is people on this dais have been a part of these. We have Madam Attorney, City Attorney, 20 years working. These folks are from the community that we're talking about. So I just find it sometimes hard that we're not power mapping. And that was the organizing tool that I learned, which is us telling you as organizers and as people who have this kind of political power, the power is in the people also, right? We know that. And so when we say power mapping, that looks like, yes, the state can do this. They have the legal authority to do this. And then they also can have the legal authority to circumvent us. So when we're telling you this, it's actually to show the lineage of where the power is so we can build and move power together. So we're not telling you that we don't have power. We're saying you have power by engaging us at that public on the 17th, right? You can email us. We're reading every single emails. I left my cell phone. You all have access to us. And so right now, Greensboro has to get, lean in a little bit closer to each other so we can start working together. A lot of our biggest critics, y'all, those are former friends. And so somewhere along the line where we got elected 7 months ago, and that we've all come as this kind of coalesced as this, I don't want Greensboro to miss this opportunity. We can be an example. We can be an example across the country. We have a beautiful team, and you guys are a part of that. And so I'm going to get off my soapbox to say we're trying to give information. We're meeting everybody we're listening. And so is management. We're pausing things based on trying to improve our community engagement And so here we are, meeting each other now. So you might not know this, but I'm April Parker. I've been on the ground for 16 years, and it took me 16 years as a community organizer to sit in this seat. And so I didn't stop becoming a part of the community because I got elected. I'm still a part of this community. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Parker. Thank you very much. Tara Watterson, Gary Kenton, Evan Cantfield.
Good evening. My name is Tara Watterson of District 5. I've recently relocated back here to my hometown of Greensboro after 15 years away. I was alarmed to learn that Greensboro already has one data center in the works. And then to see the previous vote on the moratorium, I have met with and expressed concerns about the destructive impacts of hyperscale AI data centers with my council member, as well as discuss it with others of you. I will also reach out to my state representative. So I want to thank you for hearing us and revisiting this moratorium vote. I want to be heard that attracting business to Greensboro cannot come at the cost of our clean air, our access to clean water, and our health. It just cannot. That is too high a price to pay, and for too few jobs. Communities across our country have had these projects forced into their neighborhoods without adequate restrictions or protections of health, water resources, and power costs. We cannot allow this to happen here in Greensboro. I'm excited for this moratorium because we need a robust process of education, public input, and dialogue at the center of this process to develop ordinances to protect our health and resources. I would like to comment on the 120 days that's been proposed. Over 25 towns and counties in North Carolina have passed moratoriums, and I just learned of the 120 days tonight, so I haven't been able to confirm, but if I'm not mistaken, 120 days is the shortest of all of those in North Carolina. So I'd like to know more about where that number comes from and what is expected during those times. I will be at August 17th, but we need a lot more, I think, input and dialogue. We see that this is such an important issue to our community and to communities all over the country. So I believe a 32-month moratorium on all data center development with a commitment to a robust public process of community input and hearings as a foundation for new ordinances to protect Greensboro's health and water resource and power costs is necessary, and I hope you will consider a much.
Luther Zakin or Zakin, I'm not sure which. Laha. Aria Rose. Hillary. Y'all can come on this side of the room.
Finally, good evening, everyone. My name is Lahav Zakin. I am a rising senior at New Garden Friends School, a member of Guilford for All, and a resident of Hamilton Forest in District 4. I want a city that I am proud of. I want a place that will bring me joy to share with friends I make away in college. I want a place that fellow young people will want to move to and be able to thrive in. That is one of the many reasons why I support a moratorium on new data centers and why I am so happy and grateful for tonight's vote. I love Greensboro, and I want it to be the best that it can be. I want to build a city that has smart growth that puts people first. I want a city that is thoughtful, intentional, and responsive to the community. I want a city where when we see something wrong, we do something about it. I want a city where, just as we saw tonight, we learn from our own mistakes and do better. On a personal note, many of my weekends last fall were spent knocking doors with G4A supporting many of you. I got up at 5 a.m. on election day to drop off lit to make sure that you all got elected. That was absolutely the right decision. I am so grateful for this council and am reminded why I and G4A believed so strongly in many of you. We were right to do so, and I'm glad to have champions for the people on this dais. I especially want to thank council members Black and Crawford for their leadership and for standing up for the right thing on this issue. I want to thank council members Allen and Parker for their votes 2 weeks ago and today. And I want to thank Council Members Holston, Thurm, Mayor Busewader, Roth, and Marshall for voting yes tonight. Changing your mind publicly is uncommon and requires real courage. Tonight, you showed real courage. I'm excited for the continued conversations around this. My generation is overwhelmingly concerned about the effects that data centers could have on our neighborhoods, our pocketbooks, and our lives. A moratorium gives time to thoughtfully examine the effects of data centers. Hopefully, this time will be used to thoughtfully examine what they could look like in our communities rather than unnecessarily gambling on something that could have so many adverse effects for my generation to inherit. This must be just a start. It must go beyond just this moratorium. We have to protect our people, and we have to stand up for what is right. Thank you.
Thank you. Aria Rose and Hillary Zakin, is that how you say it? Thank you.
Hi, folks. My name is Aria Rose, and I just wanted to open by thanking you for changing your minds on the moratorium. And I'm also very grateful to hear that that moratorium can be extended if you so desire. I also just wanted to recognize that this council has had a very rough term. You guys are facing a lot of pressure. Tensions are running very high. And I do not envy your position at all. And despite this, despite those tensions, you guys listened to feedback, you listened to the community, and you sort of made the right call on this. I also want to recognize that you are in a tough spot. The public wants a ban, and you, obviously, as you have said, cannot do that. But what you can do is regulate. You can make it so unappealing for a data center to come to Greensboro that another one never sets its foot within this city. Not with, obviously, and in this case, you would not be regulating with business ventures or economic prosperity in mind, but with the safety and well-being of our city. Over and over, like over the past several years, the same story has been playing out in this country. A data center will come to a city where it is unregulated or underregulated, and it will demolish that community through the pollution, the lack of privacy, as many have said, through just like the general extraction of wealth out of our community through land, water, power, so on and so forth. I would also be remiss to not point out some of the environmental problems that I think have been overlooked tonight. As somebody, well, one person did point this out, it is Heat Awareness Week, and data centers can raise ambient temperatures in communities by up to 16 degrees. There was also a really interesting study put out by the Virginia Commonwealth University this year that found that carbon emissions in Virginia between 2015 and 2013 increased by 196%. And they attribute most of that growth to data centers. So, I just want to say, keep all of this in mind and all the other issues while you're working towards passing legislative regulations. And again, thank you for for starting the process to pass a moratorium.
Thank you. Hillary?
It's been a long night.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. I also want to start by thanking you so much this evening for supporting the move toward a data center moratorium. My name is Hillary Zakin. I live in Hamilton First in Greensboro's District 4, and this city has been my home since 2012. When I moved here, my children were 1 and 4 years old. My oldest, Lahav, is now 18, and you just heard from him. Greensboro is where I've raised my family. It's where I serve as the board chair for Reconsidered Goods, where I've found community at Beth David Synagogue, and where I volunteer with Guilford for All. I love this city, and I want to see it thrive. Over the last several weeks, Guilford for All has partnered with Indivisible Guilford County and the Protect Guilford County Data Center Moratorium Coalition to make sure that residents have a voice in this conversation. In just 2 weeks, 645 people signed our petition encouraging you to adopt a moratorium on new data centers. Y'all should have received that via email earlier today, and I also sent it to the city clerk. I don't know if I can show this to you, but we have the names of 645 residents who signed this petition supporting the moratorium. These names here are our friends, family, and neighbors. Also, 250 people took the time to email you directly through our online platform, and I'm sure that you have received hundreds of additional emails, calls, and texts from other folks in Greensboro. We, like you, have had countless conversations with our neighbors about the future. These are not metrics. These are the voices of your constituents who, like you, love this city. And they are asking you to slow down long enough to get, whoa, sorry, my handwriting here. They're asking you to slow down long enough to get it right for the people who live here. So I think it'll take a little longer than 120 days, but I trust that you have a plan, as previous speakers have said, to make it unattractive for data centers to come to Greensboro. I trust that you will thoughtfully think about the right kinds of regulations and limitations that are within your power to make sure Greensboro is a great place for the people who live here. When this conversation started a few years ago, most of us had never heard of data centers. Today we know they can affect our water, our power demand, our electric bills, our neighborhoods, and our quality of life. We have real ethical concerns about what these bring here. When we know better, we do better, and tonight, y'all did better. So thank you for that. Now we have time to do research, to hear from experts, to involve the community before making a decision that'll shape our city for decades. As our own Mayor Pro Tem Denise Roth said about the South Elm Street Pedestrian Plaza pilot program, exploring new ideas is important, but so is making sure we get them right. I'm looking forward to seeing you get it right.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go through the names that I called that were not in the room. I've got Luke Logan, Josh Morrison, Estelle Bowden, Gary Kenton, Evan Campfield. Is there anyone who did sign up who hasn't spoken? Thank you all very much, and that is the end of our speakers from the floor. Now we will move on to our matters to be discussed by the mayor and members of council. Who would like to start on the dais? Go ahead, Ms. Black.
Okay.
Councilmember Black.
I think we've said enough for tonight.
I'm sorry. No. We're having our council comments after speakers from the floor. Yes, that's on our. This is matters to be discussed. This is our council comment after the public speakers. Council asked for that, and we've done it for 3 meetings, correct?
Okay, we're
Thank
ready?
you.
We're
Thank
ready?
you. I could have made an error, so I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to move forward with council comments. I don't have any at the night. I thank everybody for coming out that gave their input. We have absorbed everyone's input, and we hope to hear more. I invite you to come to the public hearing. It is specifically for data centers. And I think that the more we learn together, the more that we move forward in this work, I believe that we will come up with a product that our city will be proud of. So I look forward to continuing to build this relationship among council as well as our community. I think April is right that we need to come together. There's been this pattern in our city of city council against community, and we've got to change that. We've got to change that. We are here. You elected us. We're here to do the work. So let's try to do that together, not just on this topic, but even other topics that we are addressing in the city. We're not the enemy. We're not the enemy. We want to hear from you, and we want to be able to explain to you maybe why we can't do something and how you can activate differently. And some of that comes by building trust. We understand that. So maybe this is the catalyst to building some trust with community and us working together so we can move forward to address the data center concerns. But I hope that council and community can be more partners than adversaries moving forward, because it doesn't get anything done. It just causes clickbait media, and it doesn't get the work done. So I just implore our community to continue to speak out, because we're listening, but also come to the table. Come to the table and have conversations with us, and let's not be back and forth against each other. So thank you.
All right, Councilmember Allen.
I will not reiterate all the things. I think that we've had a pretty good dialogue, and hopefully it can serve as that reset that Councilmember Black was talking about, so that we can work together like Councilmember Parker was talking about moving forward. I did want to, I guess, just inquire about one of the things that was mentioned from the speakers. One of the folks mentioned that the polling sites and the voting thing, and so I wanted to ask either Mr. Manager or Madam Attorney around what the city can do, if we can activate any resources for folks across the city around voting access and things like that. I know there's been something that we've done in the past with city buses and things like that. So if there are any concepts and ideas that we can work around in that area, then I'd like to see something along those lines.
Yes, sir, you're correct. As we approach the election cycles, historically we have tried to support in areas we know that people may need bus access, whether it's free passes for the day or different avenues. So we'll definitely review and explore those. Yes, sir.
All right. Councilmember Holston.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to go back to a comment that I heard early in this meeting. It was a young man who was talking about not knowing if he wanted to come down here, not knowing if his voice would be heard. It's just important to realize that your voice is always heard, whether it's one of one or one of 1 million. It's always worth it to engage and to connect with your city council members, your county commissioners, your state legislators, everybody. No one should self-check themselves and say, well, gosh, I have nothing to say, nothing to hear, because it does make a difference. And we heard the conversation tonight about data centers, and I'm going to try to get it right this time. It's the beginning and not the end of the conversation about it. We have the August 17th coming up, and your voice does matter. If you're the only one that you know of who thinks the way you think, still come to that August 17th meeting and share it, because there may be some nugget in there that catches fire, and then we all are going to be there with you. I'm just excited about the fact that, I'll say it again, I've heard the term being proud of, but the collaborative nature of this council, the ability to engage, to re-engage, and to connect and come up with something that, as the stewards of this community, we'll be able to work with you, the residents of the community, to make even better. I said earlier that we're open for business, and that's the business of business, but it's also the business of living and playing, and the business of the environment, and business of education. It's all about the business of taking care of the business, and that business is Greensboro. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Thurman.
Yeah, I also want to go back to one of the very first speakers. I feel like I've said enough about data centers tonight, and as have my fellow council people. But I want to highlight the work that was done in our community today and will be done in our community tomorrow. Over 600 volunteers spent time today working in our community with nonprofits throughout the community. It was a corporate sponsor, Procter & Gamble, sponsored today and tomorrow. There'll be 600 people more going out into the community tomorrow to work in our community. And the power of having us all work together on making Greensboro the great place that we know it can be can't be overstated. It was very touching to see those 600 folks go out, and they had a business meeting first. They'll have a business meeting in the park tomorrow morning first thing, and going out into the community and the work that they're doing. I would encourage you, if you have not gone or walked through LeBauer Park, and I don't know whether they're going to be out at Center City Park tomorrow. About 100 of those volunteers worked in the downtown parks. And the short amount of time I was there, it made such a difference. and take some time to drive by, to walk in, to visit the parks, because it is so impressive in what people can accomplish in just a little bit of time working together. We all have the responsibility to work towards making Greensboro a better place. And today was an amazing example of 600 folks going out into our community and saying, I want to help. And it was very moving and had a big impact. And I want to thank Procter & Gamble for allowing their employees to work in our community. It was really very, very touching. They're a good partner in our city. They participate in all our events, all our big events, and it's great to have them in our city. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for representing us, Councilmember Thurm. A lot of us could not make this morning, and I want to thank you for being there. It was early. All right, let's see. Mayor Pro Tem, I'll go on to you. I'll come back last.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. You know, I was sitting here thinking about, as we were running for office, the comments that were regularly said. Thank you for taking on this work. I know it's not an easy task, and this process has reminded me of why we do this work and why our residents, who, especially those who came out tonight and who have emailed us, do what they do. And it's because of the passion we have for this community and the love that we have for this community. Working together and bringing our voices and our best efforts together will help us build a stronger community. So I just appreciate all that's happening here, just real time. I think it's important for us to sit in that space and not lose sight of it, because sometimes it can be a bit daunting. I also want to just put on the record, I think we should adopt We the People as a song for the city, right? They did that for New York, had its theme song, and so we can have our theme song. But I love the We the People. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone who came out tonight. And again, I cannot emphasize enough that all of the emails, the calls, like, we need them. And there's so many good ideas that are coming out of the community that, like, I didn't know about the tannery. I'm going to look that up when I get home. But 645 signatures on top of those calls and conversations is nothing to laugh at, right? We know that we are getting huge engagement from the community around data centers, and I'm just really proud that people are willing to come and engage and speak up. I want to make sure that we are being clear. We are not trying to hold any information from the community. I know that we ran on transparency, and so we are trying to be very open about what laws mean, what our roles are. Our roles are around land use and zoning. That is what we can do. So I just want to make sure that people don't think that we have some nefarious purpose in what we try to educate the community. As we are learning, we are trying not to be gatekeepers and make sure that everyone understands exactly what we understand as we go along. I wanted to make sure in talking about community engagement, the concerned citizens of Northeast Greensboro will be having their meeting on Thursday. And so I want to make sure anyone that lives in that community is there at Peeler at 6 o'clock. Also, tomorrow night is National Night Out. I know that we are all going to try to get to as many neighborhood association events as possible. I will try my best as I am hobbling on crutches, but I hope to hit as many as I can. And then really important information. We talked about the residential code ordinance and how we are trying to make sure that code does not hit aunties and uncles who are struggling to make repairs, and that we were making sure that the home repair fund was fully funded. And so anyone who's an eligible low-income homeowner, the applications will be opened Monday, August the 17th. For any qualifying residents, you can get assistance up to $20,000. Application acceptance will close on September the 18th at 4 o'clock, or until 20 applications have cleared the approval process. So we wanted to make sure that that information gets out to the public. This is opening soon, and if you need support, please make sure to apply.
Thank you. Councilman Marshall.
Yes. First, I want to thank everybody for letting me go on vacation last week. Did I miss anything?
I think we still filled you in.
Yeah. I wanted to comment on two things. One of them was in our consent agenda today, and it's about the Pomona Park Master Plan. It's really great to see that this is on track for redevelopment. Those of y'all that know me know that I'm a strong advocate for inclusive parks. I think every child, regardless of their abilities, should be able to have access to parks, and we need more of this in Greensboro and in every district. Key components of this plan include the development of a sensory gym, multi-purpose activity spaces, and improvements to the outdoor areas to support safe and inclusive play. This is just a roadmap for the future development that allows for partnerships and funding opportunities. So I'm really excited to support that. I also wanted to let folks know that on Wednesday, August 26th at 11:30 a.m. is the Women's Equality Day Luncheon at the Yvonne Johnson Event Center. Tickets are $35, and you can go to greensboro-nc.gov/HR tickets if you want to go.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Parker.
Okay. I just want to confirm, y'all, again, the learning space for the environmental justice component for the Community Sustainability Council is August 10th, but I have a few more dates. I'm super proud of the Coffee with the Council. I'm very grateful for the at-large members of City Council, and so you want to meet us, put this in your calendar. August 31st at 6 p.m. I will be accompanied by at-large member Holston. And these are kind of like little mini town halls, y'all. They've been really powerful. So it was like 35 at the first one, and we're kind of outgrowing the space at Deep Roots. So we're going to keep this going and meeting with each other on a monthly basis. I feel like Madam Mayor will join me in the fall, and that will also have us go into a runway to a town hall. So I also wanted the first meeting of the Downtown Neighborhood Association. I'm very proud that the resurrection of the Neighborhood Association for downtown really was a product of our downtown walks, making sure that we're bringing in the voices and the experiences of the residents and creating that space for advocacy. And so many moons ago, I was a part of that, the organization, but it was a social group. And so now to meet this moment, folks are welcome to join us August 12th, 5:30 at the Crown at the Carolina Theater. So if you live downtown or in the surrounding neighborhoods, feel free to come and be a part of that. So August 31st, August 12th, and yeah, I'll also be at First Friday. So see you soon.
Thank you. And I only have a few comments. As I've told you all before, I like to bring some of the thankful emails that I get and like to read them at council. I have several here. One is saying thank you, the City of Greensboro, for helping us with an awesome Juneteenth weekend celebration. I know that's a little far back, but we didn't do as many council comments last month. I also have from another person that they were appreciative that the City Council and the Greensboro Police Department are helping those who are homeless, especially in the area of Summit Avenue. And also my last one on that is a company who actually had worked with most of the departments and actually wanted me to name the people who were so helpful. Nathaniel Davis, Trey Davis, Chester Holder in Water Resources, Johnny Hill in Water Resources, Danielle Quick in Water Resources, Kenneth Taylor Jr. in Stormwater, Joel Williamson in Stormwater, Shamika Williams in Stormwater, Derek Mikos in Stormwater, David Flagar in Stormwater, Caitlin Smith in Stormwater, and Ray Johnson in Stormwater. So I guess you can assume it had something to do with stormwater. But they really did ask me to let the community know about those. So basically, that's all my comments for this evening. We do have two public hearing items, or we have one public hearing item and a business agenda item, and we can move on to those if anyone doesn't have any pressing comments from council they want to make. Super. All right, so this is a time for a public hearing. We do not have anyone signed up, so I do not have to have the public hearing, but it is a public hearing on bond orders authorizing parks and recreation bonds, firefighting facility bonds, transportation bonds, municipal buildings bonds, and housing funds. Like I said, there's no speakers, so we could move on to a motion. Moved by Mr. Holston, seconded by Mr. Marshall. Council, please vote. On my screen went away. And that carries 9-0. That is all on our public hearing agenda. Our general business agenda is a resolution, item J1, resolution providing for the sale and issuance of a not-to-exceed $290 million combined enterprise system revenue bond anticipation note, Series 2026. I would accept a motion, or is there any discussion? Moved by Mr. Marshall. I'm sorry. Councilmember Thurm, did you have a question?
I was just going to ask if we could have a brief explanation for the public since the difference between this bond and it's a lot of.
Sure. So who made the second? Councilmember Black and Mr. Davis, would you like to?
Sure. So these will be borrowings on behalf of Water Resources. We use a cash flow process. The term is anticipation notes. It's essentially borrowing the funds in advance of the bonds themselves. This would allow Water Resources to begin a series of projects. They are documented in the agenda item itself. The hope would be the actual bond sale itself would happen sometime in 2028, and at that time we would pay off any of the anticipation notes that were outstanding.
Great, thank you. All right, I have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. We don't have a vote screen. There we go. There we go. Thank you. And that carries 9-0. That is the end of our agenda. I do have boards and commissions appointments. Does anyone have any? Mr. Marshall?
Yeah, I just wanted to correct one from the last meeting. This is for the Library Board of Trustees. At that time, I did not receive the application for the current vice chair, Dr. Jane Cannon. I'm not inclined to remove her from that position, especially given that she is the current sitting vice chair. So I would like to reappoint Dr. Cannon to the Library Board of Trustees. The person that I had nominated the last time has been notified.
Great, thank you. Is that council's pleasure? Second? Seconded by Mrs. Thurm. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Does anyone else have a board or commission appointment? I have two. I would like to reappoint Wayne Durham to the GC JAC. And also, okay, I'll do the second one after that. So I have seconded by Mrs. Thurm. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. I would like to appoint Laura Blackstock to the GC JAC. Thank you, Mr. Holston. All in favor, please say aye. All right, that takes care of mine. Moving on, do we have any matters to be presented by the city manager? Mr. City Manager.
None tonight.
All right, Madam City Attorney, do you have any matters to be presented? No. All right, it's been a long night, but it's okay. Thank you all so much, and I will accept the motion to adjourn. I think it was so moved by everyone. Thank you.